Welcome to the Once Upon an Island podcast, number 2 on the charts, number 1 in your hearts. I'm your host, Wesley, and of course, I am joined by my cheerful co-host,
Rebekah.
And today we're talking about Survivor 48, the premiere, episode 1. And man, oh man, is there a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
For those who want to hear us talk about Survivor 50, Rebekah and I did do a podcast just the other day. It's up on YouTube. It's on Spotify. It's on Patreon. Doesn't matter where you go. If you want to hear us talk all about that, is all there. So if you're coming here to listen to us talk about Survivor 50, we've already done that. I was like, Rebekah, we got to do it. We can't do it on the night of 48. We're just going to talk about that. So we've already talked about it. So anything mentioned here about 50 will be very minor. We will talk about the vote, of course, because it's up on the website and gives us way more details, especially with tribe colors. Now we know. And yeah, I just want to throw that out there for those looking for that. That is another podcast we did. And it was very enjoyable. Okay, so Rebekah, Survivor 48, the 8th edition of the new era. And I want to know, what are your general thoughts on the premiere?
General thoughts, I don't know. I do think with the announcement of Survivor 50, the voting that we're going to get to do, and just like, they definitely opened the season very high energy. Like, the cast was so ecstatic to be there. Like, not that, people are always excited to be on Survivor, but like, I don't know. I'm just, this is like a very fun season so far to me. Even just like with the first episode, I'm just like, this is a good time to be in the Survivor fandom. And yeah, I don't know. I'm just excited for what this season holds. And then, just moving forward to the next couple seasons. What about you?
I generally, this episode was fine. It was pretty good. It wasn't like amazing, pretty bog standard for new era, but I have hopes for it getting better. There's nothing crazy in this episode. The only part that I thought was worthy, though I do have a conspiracy, by the way. I have a conspiracy theory already, which we will talk we talk through the episode in order, because it was so strange, and I'm like, is that a mistake? No, that seems like it's on purpose, because does Survivor make mistakes in their editing? I don't know, maybe, but do I ever treat them as such? No. All right. I do want to throw out there that there was no apply to be on Survivor's episode, which for a second I was like, oh no. But I was like, no, I think they used the one time. The time they would have done that was when, hey, go vote on 50. And I think that we learned since the podcast we did the other day that we're only going to be voting 4 different times this season on 4 different things each time. It's not every single week, which is what I was under the impression of when we did that podcast, because nobody had clarified anything at that point. So we're going to be voting on 16 things total. With that, I think the weeks that we're not voting is when Jeff will be like, apply to be on Survivor. But if he doesn't do that, I would be a little concerned, I guess, about post 50. I got to be frank with you.
Yeah, but that is interesting.
We'll see. Let's look at next week, when I theoretically don't think we're going to be voting on anything next week, because it's 4 different times during the season. I assume there's going to be some gaps between each set of votes. So we'll see.
Yeah, and that is interesting too, because like, I assume that they always want people to apply. Like, they're always looking for people to cast, but yeah, like, they already have their cast for 48. I'm assuming, like,
well, this is
48. Is it? Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like, they already have 48. They probably already have 49. 50 is, I'm sure they're figuring that out. It's returning players. So.
At this point, if you're applying for 51 or 52.
Exactly. It's like, that's so far in the future. That's like a year and a half from now. Like, I don't know.
We'll keep an eye out next week. If he says it, then we're back in business. But at the moment, their contract with Fiji only extends to Survivor 50.
True.
So we could be going to a new location. I don't think the show's wrapping up. It's still a moneymaker for CBS. I just want to get that out there, because I already saw some comments like, whoa, he didn't say apply for Survivor. But there's so much talk tonight about how people like applied for the show and gone on and whatnot. It's like, it's almost like built. It was almost built in. Yeah, it was so built in to the premiere that like, I don't think Jeff needed to say it in this episode. I think it'll be back next week after kind of thing. So
yeah. Also, I wanted to bring up, because you mentioned, their contract with Fiji is up after season 50. I'm kind of like, the thing with the tribe themes was interesting to me. And I don't know, like, I guess kind of jumping into the episode. So I don't know if you had anything else before we do that, but.
Well, I do. I have. So there's only a couple things I've learned since our 50 podcast. And one was that There's 16 things we're voting on. Another is that a strong rumor that Suri is on 50. And that is not confirmed. That's a strong rumor. And Carolyn, I think, is basically confirmed because the way Jeff was talking about 50 in Survivor CBS uploaded a couple of videos of Jeff talking about 50. And one of them, Jeff's like talking without saying the name of the person, talking about going on the traders and how in the past that would have stopped you from being on Survivor in the future. But he's like, I have to move on and like get better. And I know this is a issue I have. And he's talking about Carolyn. He's not talking about Boss Rob, Jeremy, or Tony. He's talking about Carolyn, like, obviously.
Yeah. Well, and there was an ad for traders that played during this episode. So I was kind of surprised by that, actually.
Featuring Survivor players and Parvati and everything, yeah.
Yeah, and like Alan ended it by saying, what did he say? Like, this is the toughest like survival game or something like that. Like, he used the word survivor. I was like, that's crazy they let that
For those who are listening to this and haven't watched The Traders, I recommend it. Start with season 1. Not like you have to, but season 1, season 2, they all have Survivor players on them. Season 1 is a good, solid foundation for the show. Start there. There's only 3 seasons. So you're not like too much to catch up on, but start with season 1 if you haven't watched it yet. It's pretty good. We do have podcasts for season 1, season 2, and season 3 hasn't quite ended yet, but we have podcasts for that as well. And we will still do that. Mary tomorrow, winner analysis. Madison will be joining me. Madison's a new co-host in our rotation. You might have heard her the other week on The Traders. She will be joining us as well. She's going to be doing The Traders this week with me. Okay, that's enough nonsense. People are bound to be like, the podcast. Why are they talking about 48 yet? We are. All right, we're working on it. Okay. I genuinely appreciate you all listening. Like, this is our 10th season of podcasting. 10th live season. Because we podcast old seasons.
That's so exciting.
T-shirt. I know some people are going to ask for the t-shirt. Didn't work out. There's too much. There wasn't enough time between 47 and 48 to like get all logistics worked out. I'm going to be frank with everybody. I'm thinking I'll work it out after 48 and have something prepared probably for 50. It just makes most sense. Maybe 49.
The season 50 logo is pretty great, so you should incorporate that somehow. I think that's the logo. Like, the more I thought about it, I think this is the logo. Like, this is not a temporary logo. It's not a placeholder? I looked the way it was on when he's like, vote for 50 tonight. I was like, that's the logo. Yeah. That's the Wesley. You said you weren't going to talk about Survivor 50 that much. Okay, well, I'm doing it anyways. Here I am, I know. Well, we have been podcasting for 45 minutes, so if this is shorter, it's because you cut something out. You want to bring that bit That's back? Not a bit, that's the truth. We've been podcasting for 3 hours at this point. If it's any shorter at this point, you know we've cut stuff out. Okay. All right, so a couple other things. So those who might have noticed that the casting for the season, and I'll have it in a rotation of the pictures here on YouTube, saw that there are like 7 or 8 Californians this season. And there was an interview this past week where Jeff was talking with Mike Bloom. I think it was Mike Bloom, not Dalton Ross, where Mike was just asking him, he's like, hey, like, this cast seems like they're super strong. Like, oh, strong people. Was that like part of the plan, or did that just kind of happen? And Jeff's like, oh, it kind of happened. In fact, I don't ever think about what state people are from. Now, Mike Bloom did not bring up location. I looked back in the interview. Nowhere earlier in the interview was location brought up or states brought up. Jeff, of his own free will, in his own mind, brought up how he doesn't think about what state people are from, which tells me Jeff is either A, just recently become cognizant of the state bias, or B, thinks about it all the time. I'm thinking it's A. I think Jeff has recently become aware. Maybe finally all of my talks about, I even made a video about the casting bias of Survivor, talking about how there's 4 states they've never cast from, some that have bigger populations than states they've cast from, double digits, which is ridiculous. So anyways, I'm just saying, maybe we'll see this cracked in 49. Maybe we'll see those other states who have never been cast from instead of 7 or 8 Californians. I know. Yeah. Well, we got it even in the episode tonight. We got the California Girls Alliance. Like, they even talked about it in the episode. They're like, whoa, I can't believe we're all from California. What are the odds? I laughed so hard at that. Survivor casts everybody from the same 2 areas of the United States. I don't know. There's only 330 million people, and we have to pull 18. Actually, if you include Canada, it's like 360 million, something like that. Yeah. And they only have to cast 18 people. Do you like? And I hear people, there's no one in these other states. There's 330 plus million people, and I understand some are children. I got that. They only have to get 18. 18. All right. So let's move on. Well, Sammy's only 19. Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right. So the episode opens up with people being told they were cast on the show. What did you think about this?
I thought this was interesting. I mean, it doesn't like super impact the show necessarily, but I thought it was like, I don't know. I like it when they do something different. And it's like, yeah, we haven't seen this at least in a while. I don't know if they've ever done this
for 46
before, but,
they did. They showed the casting tapes, but they didn't show okay. They didn't show people reacting to the fact they got cast.
Oh, right. It was the casting tapes.
Yeah. So we didn't see that in 47. Yeah. Maybe it's like an even numbered season now. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be interesting. Now, does this lean into your conspiracy theory by chance?
No, I will let you know when we get there.
Okay.
It's not too deep in the episode.
Because I was going to say, it was interesting the way that this was cut together. Like, obviously it was, everyone was excited and emotional and stuff, but there was one person who seemed to get quite a bit of focus.
Joe got the nice, gentle, feel good, feel bad, whatever word is. Mm-hmm. The music. I know a lot of people don't pay attention to the music.
The music shifted.
The music is hugely indicative a lot of the times of how you're supposed to feel in the moment. And you'll notice for winners that the music is never going to make you feel like they're silly or stupid unless it's like a fleeting moment. It's usually feel good, feel bad, feel something for them. And yeah, but again, I'm not going to sit here and base the entire conspiracy. Who am I? I would never base entire conspiracy on something like that. Okay, let's get real.
On one thing.
Wait till you hear my actual conspiracy, then you'll realize.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Right. So we do get the Matt chat again, though. Mm-hmm. I think we all learned our lesson after 44. 44 was the last time it worked. 45 shoved it out the door, kicked it in the face, said, haha, Matt chat means nothing. 46, there was no Matt chat. 47, Matt chat Rachel was not one of the people who got a Matt chat. So I'm not going to take it into account, but let's talk about the Matt chats. First one is from Mitch. He gets a Matt chat, references, was not on my bingo card, Christy from the Amazon season 6 getting referenced. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
I had to double check her name.
Flashback and everything.
I had to double check her name was Christy. And I made a video about her many, many years ago because she's the first deaf contestant. I think there's only been 2. Don't quote me on that because somebody's bound to be like, there's 3. I think there's only 2 and she was the first one in season 6 and then they didn't do another one until like season 30. I mean, it was like such a gap, but she was such an interesting character on season 6. Him to reference. And then Jeff's like, oh, that's the Amazon. Why didn't you apply sooner? Like, all right, Jeff, like, okay, some people like, I don't know, 2003 is a different time than now. Oh.
Right, yeah. And I also thought it was interesting, like, there were 2 of the people that he talked to at the Matt chat that were like, I've been trying to get on this show for 30 years or 20, however long it's been, whatever, It's like, yeah, okay.
So then I think Mitch doesn't say the name Christy for the contestant he's referencing because, well, Mitch has a speech impediment. I don't know if I already said that. He's a speech impediment. He mentions that there. I think the reason that you don't hear him say the name Christy is because the next person Jeff talks to is Christy, and talk about confusing if you're a casual person watching the show. There's 2 Christys.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. I was confused by that.
Right. So then Christy.
I was like, who are we talking about?
So then he talks to Christy. She gets like what I called a silly Matt chat. The music was silly. It was just a silly Matt chat. And then Kevin gets a Matt chat where he references Yule from Cook Islands and also Winners at War, lest we forget. Like they only showed Cook Islands footage, but like dude was just on like a few years ago. Yule's so great. So I am happy to see them doing Matt chats where people are referencing players who we don't normally talk about. I mean, I know Yule's a winner, but we don't normally when was the last time anyone referenced Christy? Probably never. Not since season 6. I don't think Christy's been talked about on Survivor. Yule, of course, he's been on the show, but we're talking about seasons that like people don't talk about on the show. The fact that they did Matt chats where nobody referenced a new era season, I was like, good on you. It wasn't just people going, I watched Shan and wanted to apply for Survivor or whatever.
Right. And again, I don't want to keep talking about season 50, but I do hope that this is kind of building up to like, I would love for there to be some nostalgia.
Oh, dude, if Christy came back for season 50, I know people. Now, some people have asked, who do I want season 50? I did make a video of players. I think I called new era players and old era players. And I was aware, I'm like, some of these players are long shots being asked back. I don't think Christy's on my list, but I would be down for a Christy return. If you don't remember season 6, she's on with Rob Sesternino. Christy played such a unique game. And it was at a time where the game was still developing. So there was no meta. There's no meta at the time. Like there wasn't like, this is how you play the game. So Christy, she wasn't like really good at the game. She's just an interesting character. And I think interesting characters make for better returnees than a bunch of good game players. It just makes for more interesting TV.
Yeah.
Frankly,
definitely.
in my opinion. So Christy, if they bring back Christy, that'd be interesting. Yule, I think Yule's not coming back. I think Yule's played twice. He's okay. And he won. But if Yule was be brought back, I'd be fine with that. But I don't think.
Yeah,
he's great. If they're going to bring back somebody, Earl, the original king of Fiji who played on season 14 and won. He won the first edition of Fiji. They got to bring back the king. He's the king.
Bring him back to Fiji.
Yes, exactly. A different part of Fiji, but he is the original king of Fiji. He won season 14 back when they were a different part of Fiji. And they couldn't really go in the water because all the things in the water. But, still. All right. We then have the marooning challenge, Rebekah. Could you explain the marooning challenge for those listening?
I would love to, yes. So for this challenge, 2 people at a time had to crawl under a muddy net, which is always, they love doing that, just making people get covered in mud immediately. They're like, you're on the beach. All right, here you go.
Survivor, as Jeff
covered
says.
in mud. Yeah.
Your mother's birthing you right now into Survivor. You're being birthed. You're being birthed.
And then she's going to vote you out later.
Oh, Sierra, bring her and her daughter on the show.
Sierra pops out of a bush. She's like, Jeff, I'm here to vote on my mom. Anyway. So yes. Okay. So 2 people at a time crawl under a muddy net and then go and grab a heavy chest, which Jeff said that these weigh several hundred pounds, which I don't know, I guess 300 pounds? I don't know. I don't know how heavy they could be, but anyway. And so, grabbing a heavy chest and bring it back to the beginning. And then once everyone's gone, then 3 people have to race back through the net and then climb up a ramp to retrieve a key. And all 3 people have to get up the ramp. So there's some sandbags that they can use to help get them up to the top. And then they bring the key back, use the key to unlock the chests, each of which contains a sandbag. And then they take those sandbags and have to toss them up onto raised platforms above their head. And the winner earns their supplies.
Very bog standard on this challenge.
Yeah, honestly, pretty standard. There were some new or just different styles of elements, maybe the thing they had to climb up to get the key was interesting, but I don't know, it's a similar, we've seen stuff like that before.
Purple Tribe dominates this one. Let's move on. I want to talk about things that are actually interesting. Okay, Purple Tribe wins easily.
Yes. Oh, and Kevin hurts his shoulder.
And it's not ever referenced again after day 1, so I don't think it's a factor beyond day 1 because it wasn't brought up at the immunity challenge when they lose later. And it wasn't brought up when it was talking about who to vote people off, nothing like that. I'm not saying it's not relevant at all. I'm saying it wasn't brought up again, which makes me think it wasn't that serious of an injury.
Yeah, it seemed mostly relevant because they picked him to go on the, I don't know what it's called. It's not a journey, but the thing to go try and earn
versus Savvy, but this season it got shifted. And
Yes.
Can we, I know now chronologically this is not how it took place, but I do want to talk about this because let's get Sweat versus Savvy out of the way now so then we talk about tribe dynamics. Sweat versus Savvy was not called that in this episode, unless I missed that. But I do it didn't work out perfectly because freaking Kyle broke the jug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good for him.
Well, okay, but let me ask, is this technically Sweat versus Savvy? Because normally there's 2 different challenges.
Right. Well, I think this is last season. I think it was Sweat and Savvy is how they mixed it up. And then this season they didn't even call it anything. I actually really like this idea. I don't think the execution was perfect, but I really like the idea. I really like where they're going with it. The 1v1 for supply. In fact, I think Survivor needs more 1v1 challenges, not when they do Redemption Island. I mean, just hero challenges is what they're called when there's
fire making.
Yeah.
More fire making.
We're voting on that for 50. Okay. We're voting against it. That's what I'm doing. I'm saying I really like the idea of the 1v1 challenge for supplies. I don't know. I just kind of liked it. I think different challenge would be cooler. Yeah. In fact, you know what? I think that if they would do something like this, I don't know why they had to go off and do it by themselves. Why not, as soon as they're done losing, both tribes are done losing, okay, sumo wrestle challenge in the mud. They already got the mud. Just design the challenge so then they can go over to the mud, remove the net from it, and now you do the sumo challenge they used to do with the pads, and you push whoever falls off. I don't know, falls off the platform first, whatever. Go. I don't know, just do it right there in front of everybody. So now you just lost, but you got another chance, and everybody gets to see it happen. I don't think I like the idea of 1v1.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like the idea of 1v1. I like the idea of that challenge, like how you're saying, just doing it in front of everybody. The thing is, though, that I don't know, like going elsewhere gives them an opportunity to lie. That's not like, I don't know, it's not always a huge game thing. Like, it doesn't really seem to have affected the game this season where, like, people don't believe that Kyle didn't get the, whatever. Like, they I don't know, they don't believe, like, he didn't get a, like, there's no talk, I guess, about advantages is what I'm trying to say. But there is the potential that could become a talking point at some point. So that's the only advantage you get by like going elsewhere other than the one island wherever, or the one beach where everyone
maybe
is.
I'm misremembering. Was it, I think it was last season. Maybe it wasn't Sweat and Savvy. Was it, did they do the same 1v1 thing last season where it was TK and Asia?
And
was
Asia?
that episode 1?
Yeah.
I think it was episode 1. And they like had to go do this thing and then they had to go out in the ocean. And so if that was the same thing, I apologize. My memory's a little foggy on irrelevant people, like not irrelevant people, like irrelevant, like those characters went out in like episodes 2 and 3. Like I don't remember their stories that well. So maybe last season, it wasn't called that either. It was just, this is the new version of 1v1. I like this version of the 1v1 more than that one. That one was kind of whatever. This one, okay. But I mean, flipping A, I understand your point of view on they're off somewhere else. I actually think that I don't think you should be doing that to them on day one. Just let them do a challenge in front of everybody.
That's fair.
Let's get the excitement. Like it was anticlimactic to see the ending of him breaking the jug. He's like, I knew I lost. It's like, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And I mean, it was like anticlimactic from a challenge perspective. I did think it was like cool that we saw him helping Kevin to like then fill his jug, and then they kind of bonded over that, so that, assuming they both make the merge, that could become something later on. But it's kind of mostly set up at the moment, if anything.
Well, Kevin ends up winning. Kyle breaks the jug. Kyle helps Kevin. Kevin's like, you're a real one, dude. And then they walk off, and I don't know. And we'll see if it means anything later. We'll see if they both make the merge and it matters. Or if there's a tribe swap. Who knows? There could be a tribe swap this season. We haven't had one of those since 45.
That would be fun.
Are you ready for my conspiracy? I don't know what this means. To be clear, I do not know what this means.
Okay.
Like, normally I have something attached. I have no idea. So we go from the marooning, because the Sweat and Savvy or whatever it's called now, it happens later. We go from the marooning and we go to the purple tribe first. Now, whenever you go to a tribe, Rebekah, what does it say on screen in the bottom left?
It says the day.
It says
number.
the tribe name and the day number every time.
Okay.
I think we can all agree. Everyone's listening is like, yep, that makes sense. Okay. Glad we're all in agreement. This time, if you go back and watch it, it does not say that. It says Survivor 48, day 1. Never in any season ever, and at no point later in this episode does it ever say the season name and then day 1. What does that mean? I don't know. Why'd they put that? Do you think I forgot what season and show I'm watching? No. I don't know what that means. But what I'm saying is it was out of place. It was weird. And it made me go, Yeah, maybe go, but like, not a of like, It was more like, what? Like, what? Why? And Mary's like, it was probably just an editing mistake. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe. Like, a misspelling to me is an editing mistake. Like, I know season 40, they misspelled millennials versus Gen X for Adam or something like that. Like, that's an editing mistake. Like, there was no hint there. That was just, it's a hard word to spell if you don't go Google it real quick, like millennials, like how many N's and L's? I don't know. Like clearly they didn't. And like, sometimes I don't know either. I got to go look it up. But what I'm saying is that it was just weird. And they don't do it any other time. They don't do it for any other tribe. It's just when we go to the purple tribe first time, you think they'd put Loggy day 1. I don't even, at this point, I was still writing purple tribe in my notes. I don't know what the tribe name is. I know Jeff said the birds in the air and whatever. But like I was
the moon and the sun and the
birds in the sky or something, whatever. The bats flying around, I don't know, the monsters behind the bush. Anyways,
I was like, Jeff, this isn't what we meant when we said we want themed seasons.
Why does every tribe name have to be 4 letters? Whatever. So I don't know. Just put that in your pipe and smoke it. Go back and look at it, everybody. If you have a conspiracy, what that means, let me know. It could connect to the winners on this tribe, but like, I don't know. It's like, why does it say Survivor 48 in day 1? It doesn't do it in any other season. It doesn't. Like, I would remember something weird
that's really
like that. It was just weird because they don't do it later in the episode. So we'll see. I got to go back and look at it because it was like, I do not ever look at tribe named Day One. It only caught my eye because it was like a million letters on screen, and then Day One. I'm like, Survivor 48 Day One. I'm like, Mary, did you see that? And she was like taking notes, so she didn't see it. And I'm guessing you didn't see it.
I don't think I saw it because I was also taking notes.
Crazy. All right, so we're at Loggy. Thomas wants to adjust to what everyone else is talking about. So he recognizes, he's like, I got a tribe full of people who like to work out and do hard things, and I need to adjust my story to them to sound cooler, I guess. Is that what he was saying? Thomas got a lot of focus here.
Yeah, he did get a lot of focus this episode. I think what he was saying was like, yeah, he wanted to stay quiet at first and kind of figure out the tribe vibe and then figure out how he fits in with that. And yeah, he was pointing out that like there's so many buff people on their tribe and that is not him. And I think he was like, okay, I'm worried I'm going to be seen as the weak link. So I need to make some really solid connections with people really early on and just be the personality and not get voted out.
I didn't mention this before, but it does seem like the green tribe got the short end of the stick on the buff people. Purple tribe got Joe. It got, I'm going to butcher his name. I apologize. I will learn it as we go. Shohun. Do you not say his name? The guy with the beard, like really awesome beard. I wish I had his beard.
His beard is epic. I didn't catch how to pronounce
I apologize
his name,
to everyone. I don't know, but you know who I'm talking about. The guy with the epic beard.
Yes.
And then Eva, like three, like very much in shape people who work out a lot. And then you got Thomas, and Bianca, and who was the other? Star's like 6 feet tall.
Yeah. She looks very like intimidating from an athletic perspective.
I would not want to wrestle Star. Star would beat me.
No.
So that's what I'm saying. Like there's like 4 strong people. Okay, we go over to the orange tribe, and like David alone makes the tribe look stronger than maybe it really is.
He does.
But like David's the strength of 2 people. Okay. Then you go over to green, and it's like, who's their strong person? Kevin? I'm not Kevin. Kyle?
Yeah.
By the way, I'm getting mixed up on Kyle.
Kevin. You're right.
Yeah, I keep getting mixed up on Kevin and Kyle.
Kevin's on green.
Yeah, Kevin.
Cedric,
no.
Yeah.
I feel like they got the short. No, not Justin's like 100 pounds soaking wet. Like he is. He probably eats pizza and doesn't have to care about the calories. And I'm a little like envious of this. I wish I could eat pizza and not care about the calories.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. It's not my lot in life, but it is his, and good for him. So
there's an interesting like mix of personalities on green too. Like Justin seems so laid back, and then you have Sai. Sai, is that how you pronounce her name?
Yeah. Well, I think they were saying Say. So let's call her Say. Everyone was saying Say. So we'll say Say as well.
We'll say Say.
We'll say.
But yeah, just like the dynamic or the contrast between the two of them and their personalities is very interesting, but like I don't know, they seem to get along, but anyway.
Yeah. I'm just saying green got the short end of the stick, but thankfully Jeff was not thinking about what state people were from when he was casting. He doesn't ever think about that. And the fact that he brought up out of left field, nobody asked him, means he's not thinking about it right now. So don't worry about it. All right.
Also, while we're talking about the green tribe, I just have to.
We're talking about the purple tribe. You went off track.
Well, now we're talking about the green tribe, and I'm gonna wedge this.
All right, wedge it in, but we need to go back to purple because I got notes.
Okay, so as you may have noticed in our photos this year, I picked the green buff for our photos.
Save this for winter analysis. No, I know.
Save for winter analysis. Okay.
I'll save it. Hold on to that. Hold on to that. All right.
I'll hold it.
The photos this year, a little different. I tried doing sunset. I don't know if it really worked. You guys let me know. Okay, back to purple tribe, buddy. What does this mean? Oh, I wrote Christy and Joe are both fire. Okay. What I meant by that was Christy in the orange tribe and Joe on the purple tribe are both firemen, fire people, whatever it's called nowadays.
Yes, firefighters.
So firefighters, there we go. That's better. Yeah. Again, just don't think about what state they're from, but it's okay to have other similarities. No. It's okay. Thomas, Bianca immediately click. We'll see if that matters later. We go over to the orange tribe. David said, I could be a hero or a villain. I don't know which one yet. David, he's an interesting character.
David got a lot of focus.
He is an interesting character. Aside from how super buff he is, he's very charismatic. Almost to a fault. Almost to like you reach the post-merge, it's like David's so charismatic. We got to vote him off. Kind of like that level of charisma. It's too much. It's too much charisma.
Yeah, and he also like, I don't know, he comes across as like, I think pretty likable, but Yeah, such a big personality. I do feel that's probably going to be a bit of a stumbling block for him later. I mean, he was immediately bragging about how he could, make fire from just bamboo. He doesn't even need flint and all this. And like, that's kind of a dangerous thing to be saying this early in the game. So yeah, I don't know, like, again, he seems very likable, but I think he needs to dial that down just a little bit so he doesn't get himself into
I don't think David was going
trouble,
anywhere though. If Orange had lost, you just look at David, you're like, I can't vote him off. Like he looks like an asset to my tribe.
Through the merge,
right? He just
for sure. But like as soon as you get to the merge and it's an individual game, he's out of here.
Correct.
Yeah.
I can see the Air Tribe's gunning for him right away to come the merge. So David's got just naturally, and it's a good thing I guess a good thing he has charisma because maybe he can make stuff happen socially because his physicality is going to put an immediate target on his back come the post merge.
He needs to stop doing pull-ups on the shelter. Like, just tone it down.
Well, hey, he likes Notting Hill. And I need to say this.
That's true.
I love Notting Hill. I related a little bit. Have you seen Notting Hill, Rebekah?
Yeah. It's crazy. This is like one of the only rom-coms I haven't seen, which I know it's like one of the most popular ones.
It was one of the most popular ones. I don't know if it still is, but it was.
So, I mean, I'm like kind of familiar with it. Like, what was that quote he said of like,
I'm just a girl
what is that?
in front of a boy asking you to love me. Mary and I
like I've heard that before.
Went to London a couple years ago. What else is new? Side rant. Rabbit Trail.
Yep.
We went to London a few years ago. We watched that movie for the first time ever. Mary's like, I didn't really like Julie Roberts. I'm like, Mary, you're insane. And so, I mean, that's a fine opinion, but also you're insane. So the very next day after we watched the movie, we went to Notting Hill itself because it's just a part of London. And we went to the locations from the movie because Hugh Grant works inside of a bookstore. But the inside of the bookstore and the outside of the bookstore are two different locations. As somebody who works in film, Rebekah, you could have guessed that. I mean, you could have guessed that that's how it works. Inside and outside usually are not the same place. But in this case, Rebekah, it was only like a block away. The inside and the outside are only a block away from each other.
That's weird.
So the outside of the bookstore, is a tourist shop now in Notting Hill, which, by the way, with like big poster of the Notting Hill movie, it's a tourist shop. Yeah, where the outside, like the outside shots of the bookstore, the inside shots of the bookstore are an actual bookstore that we went to, and only a block away from the tour shop.
Nice.
And if you look it up, like you'll find the outside very easily looking up, but like the inside, you have to do a little research. And I'm like, you go to the inside one, it's not that busy. Like, yeah, because it's a regular bookshop, but like it is the set of where he works at in Notting Hill, which is a prominent location.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and the outside is like, yeah, it's so cool how it's like just like a block away. Like they didn't have to create a fake inside. Like you see in a lot of movies, they make the inside, the room or whatever, the store.
Yeah.
No, in this case, it's real. It's really a bookstore. It's really there. So, and the Blue Door is in Notting Hill as well. The infamous Blue Door in Notting Hill. Okay, so I'll throw that out there. It's super cool. If you live in London, you probably already knew this. If you ever go to London, watch the movie and then go to those locations. It's like an hour and a half movie. Go to locations. It's a cool little thing. I recommend it.
Yeah,
costs you nothing. Costs you nothing. I mean, if you're already there, it costs you nothing, obviously, to go. Like they don't charge you to go to the bookstore or anything. You know what I mean? All right.
Oh, that's so
it's just a bookstore.
Nice.
It's literally just a bookstore. You go in there and they have like magnets with like quotes from the movie. And I think it's probably all they can get away with because like clearly the tour shop has like I don't know if they have the rights, but they don't care. They have like all the Julie Roberts, Hugh Grant stuff everywhere in the bookstore. It's like nothing indicating the movie except for like these magnets. And we bought one. So
yeah,
we did not shop at the tourist shop. Okay. So way off track. Anyway, Stephanie. So we go over the Green Tribe. Stephanie is worried about, maybe I misunderstood this. Is she worried about that she's going to sit on her hands or she's like, I'm going to sit on my hands. That's a good strategy.
I think she was saying she's sitting on her hands as a strategy because she knows that she's a big personality. She wants to take charge, but she also knows that when you take charge, that can put a target on your back. So she was intentionally letting other people take the lead.
Okay.
That's how
Stephanie was playing. If anyone here has played Age of Empires, Stephanie's playing the strategy in Age of Empires that you will constantly be stuck in Gold League or lower. You will be an okay player at best, sitting on your hands. It seems like a good strategy, but it's not. It's terrible. It's horrendous strategy. And I'm not saying, by the way, it's a bad strategy in Survivor. Just when she said that, I'm like, boy, buddy, I've been playing a lot of Age of Empires lately. I've been like, these people who sit on their hands are the worst teammates in this game. And so she said that, I was like, Okay, well, in Survivor, it's a little different. And then she gets voted off first. I'm like, well, okay. Yeah, I guess that like Survivor's telling us is that they don't want you to sit on your hands. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Survivor wants everybody to make big moves 24/7.
That's such a good point that's what the show wants us to take away from this. Because I was going to say she got so much focus this episode for being voted out like immediately. Right. But she even said like, Say is like going out and playing this aggressive strategy game, and I'm focused more on like getting to know people and just like, the personalities and all of that. And she's like, we'll see who wins. We'll see, and which strategy is better. The show really wanted
everyone to learn that sitting on your hands is the wrong strategy because it doesn't make for entertaining TV. I mean, it's really what they're saying. But I gotta say, I have to, I gotta figure out another word to say this. My gosh, I have to say,
I'm tracking with you.
I know. I have to say, not only was she conveyed to be the better, to have the better strategy, but like, this is 101 Survivor is, okay, where's the majority of people at? If you're not with the majority of people, you're in the minority. And she was just with Mary. She wasn't with the three guys, which Say was. Say played it right. She was with the three guys. She made an alliance with them. She told them all about her clues and her idols and every, like, Say, while she was a little aggressive at Tribal, played this pretty well up until, I think Tribal there were some mistakes made. But up until Tribal, I mean, like, oh, she kind of did it right. Like she was with the majority. She made them all feel comfortable. She played it right. She played it right up until Tribal.
Yeah.
So I can't knock
Say. I agree with that. Yeah.
Anything she can't.
I do think that Stephanie thought that she had a couple of the guys on her side. Who was it? Kevin and Justin. I think that she might have thought that they were more on her side than they were. So she may have thought she was in the majority and could relax. But yeah, definitely like, again, the way that the show is portraying this is like, be more aggressive, play the game.
I don't know if you all caught this, but there was so much in the background. It was like random. I'm trying to do the snorting that Stephanie was doing. She was snorting, probably 10 snorts this episode that were clearly Stephanie making the snorting noise. I don't know if it's laugh snorting or she just snorts in a general sense. But they definitely left a lot of snorting in the episode. And I was like, that was definitely giving me like,
left her mic
that was giving me first boot vibes. Like, you keep stuff the whole season? I don't think so. This is a first boot kind of thing. So when Green lost, it's like, it's Stephanie. I told Mary, I'm like, it's Stephanie. Well, kind of a shame it's so obvious. But yeah, so much snorting. I wrote so much snorting in my notes. Okay, so
snorting equals getting voted out. Just write that down if you're ever on Survivor. Don't snort.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying the way they were including it in the show. It's like definitely including it, going out of their way. Yeah. Okay, so we then have the 1v1, but we already talked about that. So we go back to camp, or Kevin comes back to camp and Kyle comes back to camp. Mary's like, Kevin, he's like a golden retriever. I mean, that's not a bad position to be in. Golden retrievers are in this game are viewed as dependable, likable, and kind of dumb. And I don't know. It's not a strategy to win, but it's not a bad strategy to get far.
Yeah. Maybe a goat situation, and then you can convince everyone of your game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if he's a goat. He doesn't really give me goat vibes.
It's too early for that kind of talk. It's like when David said, like, it's too early for somebody to be on the bottom. I'm going to say it's too early to talk about somebody as a goat. It's not too early for my conspiracy theories, which I do have another one that we'll talk about during winter analysis. You already know about the other one, though. We talked about during our preseason.
Okay.
We talked about during our preseason breakdown, I think. But yeah, that hasn't changed. But yeah, so I have two conspiracy theories already. But it is too early to talk about who's a goat. Like, it's too early. Teeny last season, Sue last season were goats. I guess we could have guessed Sue was a goat by, I don't know, I think after the first episode we could have guessed that. Like, but we could have guessed definitely by the end of the pre-merge that, hey, if Sue's at the end, she's a goat at this point. Like, right?
I'm pretty sure we said that at some point around that time.
Anyways, we're not talking about 47. We already did that. We did that for like too many podcasts last season. All right. So we find out that there's these symbols all around camp. Now we don't see it. I don't think we see them at purple camp, but we see them at the orange camp. And then we see them at the green camp. Now the green camp and at the orange camp, they're different. So let's talk about the orange camp symbols. Maybe you can break this down for me because the orange camp is different than what they do at the green camp. The orange camp, everything's black. All the symbols are black. And then they're finding black tape or not tape, black like rope covering up black letters. So like, what's up with this? What's your theory?
Yeah, that is interesting. But they also had animals, correct?
Yeah,
or did I
think it
mix
was
that
the
up?
same animals.
Okay. Yeah. So that's interesting. So that's what I'm wondering is like, do all of the tribes have the black letters as well and the others just haven't found them yet?
I think that it's the same beware advantage, and the answer is listen for all three of them. But like, I don't know. I feel like the green tribes, like once I saw those numbers and the color, I'm like, this is so obvious. I'm like, that's so obvious.
Yeah.
And it was that she figured out the same day. She figured like it was all figured out the same day. But in terms of orange tribe, of course, no one's found the beware advantage yet. But I'm like, black letters? Like, what's the letters only half in the animals the other half? I don't know. They only found like 3 letters, I think.
Yeah, I was just wondering if like the letters are something different or I don't know. I'll be intrigued to see. And I mean, as much as like we've seen the beware advantage like a million times at this point, it is kind of like, oh, okay, they're doing something a little different. I guess that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. We'll see what the purples camp. We'll see what there is. I'm sure we'll find out next week what theirs. Like, how have they not talked about any symbols around their camp? If they did, I apologize. I forgot. But I don't remember them talking about any symbols because, in my opinion, the purple tribe is the most important tribe of the 3. It seemed fairly obvious.
100%.
If I were to rank the importance of the tribes in terms of what they want us to know and care about, purple tribe 1, orange tribe 2, green tribe 3, in terms of importance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
For those who are new to the podcast, welcome. We here talk excessively about the show and what they're trying to tell us because that is what I'm most interested in is the storytelling. That's when we podcast about like the trailers, Rebekah, like there's it's very straightforward in terms of how it tells the story. And like, there's no like hints, there's no conspiracy theories. I don't sit here and wonder why this, why that. Like, it's very basic. Like,
right.
Well, somebody pops up out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, they were purple. But like, that's about the extent of it,
Yeah.
Like we podcast those. And it's like, I like the show, but like, it's not like this. Where it's like, what does this mean? I think the purple tribe is the most important because I think they have the winner. But the orange tribe, it's like kind of like the fun. I can't say they're the fun tribe. Are they the fun tribe? I don't know.
I think they might be the fun tribe. The green tribe is the hot mess.
Green tribe is the hot mess at the moment, though they did go to trial with this episode, so it's kind of like maybe they kind of need to be, I guess, that's the episode. But I don't know. Nothing on the green tribe indicates me anybody's a winner, and also we'll see. There's nothing on the green tribe indicated. I need to pay close attention to them.
Like you brought this up earlier, but yeah, I do really feel like the tribes have been divvied up in a very uneven manner.
Oh my gosh.
And I think green is going to get decimated.
Green gets wrecked. I'm with you.
I don't know. Like, yeah, that kind of sucks. Like, I don't know.
Dude, if I was on the green tribe and I showed up and like, this is unfair. I would have said that on the mat.
It's like, at least give us a chance.
I don't know if I said that on the mat because I'm in front of everybody and then my other 5 tribe mates be like, well, he doesn't believe in us. Let's be real.
And then Jeff's like, well, joke's on you. We're doing a tribe swap immediately.
I was waiting for somebody to say the key phrase. No. This is messed up. That's the key phrase. Tribe swap. And I land on tribe with like Joe and David. I'm like, oh, perfect. Sweet. We won.
That worked out. Yeah.
It was awesome. We just won the game. No, I would definitely, I bet you green tribe. I hope somebody there was thinking we got the short end of the stick in terms of muscles around here for sure. Like, what were they thinking?
Yeah. So, I mean, I really hope that they do like a tribe swap or like, I mean, I don't know, puzzles in challenges, I know, or like,
I can't believe we're in episode 1 already hoping for a tribe swap. Come on, give us a tribe swap. I know,
that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, that's where we're at. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Okay, so symbols all around camp. Kyle is like, I'm a lawyer and I'm going to lie about being a teacher. And it's like, where have I heard this one before?
Whoa, that's crazy.
Whoa, that's the first time ever on Survivor anyone's ever been a lawyer and then lied about it. Whoa, I've never seen this one before.
Katurah crashes through one of the bushes. She's like, I'm a lawyer.
Is Bruce here? I hate him. Oh, Bruce, my mortal enemy. Okay. David says he can trust Kyle. Tells the tribe about what he found. Oh, this one David tells everybody about the symbols. Now I gotta say both. So both times, telling everyone or telling her alliance, David just tells everyone about the symbols. What are your thoughts, number one, on how David went about this with the symbols, telling everybody?
David, I don't know. It's too early to like really make this judgment, but like to some extent, I think that he has kind of himbo vibes, if you know what I mean by that.
Means. Explain.
So it's basically just like he's a like a himbo by definition is like a very like muscular man who's just like happy to be here. Sexist. You know what I mean? Like Well, no, it's not sexist. It's
Why
like
can't
a
it be a
trope
woman?
in like movies and stuff because it's a himbo.
What's a female version? A shimbo? A shambo?
I don't think there is
it's
a
a
female
shambo.
version.
We saw that.
What?
Yes, shambo.
Oh,
okay,
my
so
goodness.
himbos and shambos. All right, keep that in mind, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's a himbo, not a
And so-
shambo. Gotcha.
And I want to be clear, like, I don't think he's dumb because sometimes there is that connotation. I don't think that at all. But like what I'm saying is I think he's very enthusiastic to like be playing the game. And I think maybe he didn't like think through the strategy a whole lot. And he's just like, oh, this is like a clue. Like this is what we do now is like, let's tell people, let's get everyone involved.
Yeah.
It's a fun like tribe activity, you know? So maybe not the best strategic
But
move,
tribe bonding.
kind of again, like,
Tribe bonding.
yeah, tribe bonding, good like personality, like you're saying, just things that he can do to like try and not get voted out right after
A
the merge.
move like
So,
that
we'll
might
see.
also lower his threat level in terms of like, okay, David's not really that great at strategy. 'Cause he
Yes.
wouldn't have told. If he was smart, he wouldn't have told me about. I think Charity said that. I think it was Charity who said like I would have told everybody if I saw this stuff. So
Yes.
it could be David needs to basically play a Tony-esque game from Winners at War where it's like lower your threat level as much as humanly possible before you strike. And David is in a position where so everyone comes to the game, everyone's going to have, there's a perception on you, no matter who you are going into Survivor. What is your perception? How can you play off of that? If you come into as a mom, you have to raise your threat level as much as possible, frankly, to get respect at the end. But if you're David, you need to do everything to lower your threat level as humanly possible so that nobody thinks of you in that way. It's just the way, that's some basics. There's so many different ones, but if you're only 19, you don't want people to think you're 19. You got to tell them you're 22. That's all part of perception, all part of that. Okay.
Yeah.
I got to mention Sifu. So Sammy and Sifu have both been on a Mr. Beast video recently. Neither of them won or were much of characters. I mean, Sifu was more of a character than Sammy, but just mention that like random Survivor players showing up in Mr. Beast videos. That's all I want to say about Mr. Beast. Okay.
What an odd crossover. That's interesting.
It's like 1,000 people. It was just,
That's
it's
true.
just like, I'm sure
He had to cast people from California. He just ran out of people,
he's like, I see why
there's gonna
Survivor,
be some overlap.
I see why Survivor does it. I can't find anybody local. All right. So we go over to the Purple Tribe and Joe, he's like, this is my interpretation. Joe is reminding me a lot of Tom Westman from Palau, by the way. Firefighter, the leader, but also like a gentle leader who wants to take, and he's like, I want to take everybody at the end. Now, I don't think Tom Westman explicitly said that, but Karor kept beating the living crap out of Oolong, where Oolong lost every single immunity challenge. That's just kind of how it was. Like they were just kind of like one unit and they all went to the end basically and didn't give Oolong a chance. And Joe basically said that here. He's like, I think that's what he said. He said, I want to take everybody to the end. I don't know if that's going to happen. It's kind of unrealistic in modern Survivor, but I think that's what Joe was saying, which makes another element of like feeling positive about Joe.
Yeah, that's how I interpreted what he said too. And yeah, I mean, we see this, a few times, especially with his relationship with Eva, I think is her name.
Eva.
The hockey player. And yeah, just like, I feel like he has big, like dad vibes in a good way. Like he's a very like parental, feeling towards the tribe. And so, yeah, I don't know. I like Joe a lot. I think he's one of those like wholesome guys that you kind of see and you're like, I don't know if he can really win necessarily, but like I as a viewer want to root for him because he just seems like a good guy.
He's talked about his daughter. So, kind of, it's almost like a mix of Tom Westman and Jeremy Collins. Jeremy Collins, another fighter who talked about his family a bunch. So it's almost like a mixture.
Yeah, all the firefighters.
Right. Yeah, it's a mixture of Tom Westman and Jeremy Collins in that sense. We'll see. It's just a lot of positivity for Joe, and it could be, that's the thing though, we've been burnt on this before where it's like a lot of positivity, but then it ends up being like teeny situation or like a fan favorite who just doesn't get to the end. Like, oh man, like Jesse, like, dang, if only Jesse had gotten to final 3, he would have won, So it could be like that. Or
they're just setting him up to be the next On Fire podcast.
Oh yeah. So it's Rachel this season. So we'll see. It's going to be a male next season from this season. So we'll see. At the moment, it's going to be somebody who reaches final 4. I mean, the way Jeff picks them, it's like you got to reach final 3 basically, or win, like which is final 3.
Yeah.
So at the moment, we'll see which males reach final 3 because that's kind of who Jeff's going to pick between. Seems like. All right. Yeah, Joe. Lots of positivity to the point where it's like kind of obvious, and that makes me a little bit worried.
A little on the nose.
A little obvious. Makes me a little worried. Okay, so say finds you beware advantage. We kind of talked about this. I'm going to say this again. Yeah, it's not shown in the show. Not even sure it was considered. You find it, you don't read the note, you smack it against a tree. I don't know why nobody has tried this.
Right?
Don't read the note.
That thing looks so fragile.
Take it and smack it. She almost pulled it. It looked like she was almost pulling it up without even having the right combo.
Right?
If you don't read the note, you are ignorant. Ignorance is bliss.
Just break it.
Break it. What's the worst that's going to happen? They're going to make you do it anyways? Okay. That's fine. You're already going to do it. I don't know. That's my instinct. I'm not going to get cast at this rate saying these things, but that's my instinct.
What if you like break the idol inside?
I bet.
Does it still
bet it's part of like the pregame discussion, like before when they like, hey, before you go out, if you find a beware advantage, like always read the note for. Like, it might be like one of those things, but it's like I don't know. In the moment, I was so caught up in the moment, I just want to smack it against a tree and break it. I didn't think about notes. What are notes? I mean,
that is usually my instinct when I find something I've never seen before. I smash it against the nearest tree.
All I'm saying is if the note doesn't say you can't open it, if it says the only way you can open it is this way, then sure. But if it doesn't say that,
yeah, maybe it's something like you said during the pregame. It's like the idol is powerless unless you read the note.
Yeah, unless you read the note. Well, it's kind of there's a note inside. I'll read the note inside. I just wasn't going to read the note that told me what to do.
True.
I'll read I don't know. I'm not reading the note that tells me what to do. Anyways, I know somebody said that on Australian Survivor they did it and it worked. And I'm like, yes, that's the energy I'm looking for.
Nice.
Just break it.
I need to watch Australian Survivor. It seems like so much
Australian
fun.
Survivor has its pros. Some people will say it's perfect. It has many flaws as well. But I think...
Don't they do like 50 days or something?
And some seasons are even longer than that. But there's definitely elements of Australian Survivor I would wish were in US Survivor. But there's also times I watch Australian Survivor and I'm like, this could use tightening up like US Survivor in terms of like the edit and everything. It's like, yeah, they very much play favorites in terms of confessional counts on Australian Survivor. It's so obvious. It's so obvious. There's no balance. There's no balance. All right. Unless it got better in the most recent season, which I have not watched. All right, so we go over to the Purple Tribe. Star's looking for the beware advantage. Everybody's like, where the heck is Star at? But Star doesn't find it. But gets the negative of looking for it and people knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Again, I'm going to butcher the name. Sean. I'm calling him Sean until I learn his name. I apologize again for not knowing how to say it. I don't remember it being said in the episode. Maybe it was. He says, Star is not ready to be social. And that's like, so we've kind of set up at the moment that Charity, I know we haven't gotten that yet, but Charity later is going to be like Charity's thrown under the bus on orange and Star's thrown under the bus here in purple. So all these women get thrown under the bus right out the gate.
Classic.
Yep. Classic.
I
mean, in the new era, it's actually favored women so much. It's actually but this is classic in the sense of older Survivor, but not but like definitely not new era. New era has been favoring women across the board and statistics.
Like in terms of winners specifically, because like aren't most first boots?
It's still first boots, merge boots, and winners. It favors women.
Interesting.
Right. Well, think about it. The most recent first boot was John. Before that was Jelinski.
Oh, true.
Before that was. I mean, that's on Hannah, by the way.
To
that's
be
on
fair,
Hannah.
Jelinski. And then it was Brandon right after that, right? See, I remember things sometimes.
See? And then I forget
Look at that.
When I say first boot, I'm thinking like beyond just the very first boot. I'm thinking like first boat off each tribe as well. It's like it still favors the women in the new era. But actually, it really favors women in the three. If I have a video all about this, I don't want to get too much into this. It's called "Is Survivor Sexist Against Women?" And I'm not saying that people are not sexist. I am saying that statistically in the 3 tribe format, women have done better. But statistically, in the 2 tribe format, men have dominated. So women have done better in 3 tribes,
really
but in 2 tribes, men have dominated. So it's like, that's almost makes me think that's why Survivor doesn't do 2 tribes, because it was so dominated by men. And now we're in 3 tribes.
And I wonder why that is. That's fascinating.
I really don't know. Because that goes historic too. That goes back to before the change after 40 with like the mandate and everything and the caste structure. I'm talking about historically 3 tribes still favored women. Still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Well, yeah.
Anyways, throw it out there. Okay, so we go over purple. Eva's like, I want to tell somebody I have autism, but I don't want it to be used against me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to tell Joe. And this is just as much a positive for Eva and a positive story for Eva as it is a positive story for Joe.
Yep.
It is, in my opinion, 50-50.
I agree. I thought the same thing. Yeah, I think this is like, I don't know. It was interesting just that she, brought it up a couple times. But as she kind of, at first when she kept bringing it up, I was like, why does she keep bringing this up? But then when she kind of explained to Joe, like, hey, sometimes I might get like really overstimulated and like, I might need someone to like calm me down. I was like, oh, okay, that's why, like, because she needed to have someone like prepped so they could like help her in those situations. And yeah, this was just like a really sweet moment between the two of them. Like, I think it was really humanizing for both of them. Again, just kind of that like father-daughter vibe between the two of them is just like really sweet.
20 years between
and like,
these two, so definitely, yeah.
Yeah, I really like this. It was almost like, I mean, it wasn't a sob story because like not a flashback, but it was like, it kind of had that emotional weight, where it was like, oh, this is really cool. I'm connecting with them as an audience.
It was natural. It wasn't forced upon them by a producer saying, hey,
100%.
Start your answer to this question with, I have autism, and like, don't tell them, like, it wasn't, it was natural. She wanted to, so they did. I like that. It is interesting to have somebody who's openly autistic. I'm not saying nobody's ever been autistic on the show. I don't know. I have no idea, but nobody's ever been openly autistic on the show. So that is interesting. Same with Mitch and his stutter. We didn't really talk about it. Or stammer. I forget what it's called. Whichever one. Is it speech impediment?
Speech impediment, I think is the term he used.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So it's a good thing he led with that. Otherwise you'd be like, does he have a speech impediment? Like, am I just hearing things?
Yeah.
This episode, Jeff's voice seemed off.
Oh,
interesting.
When
Jeff said Survivor 48, he kind of stumbled over the 8. I listened to it a few times.
Oh, you're right. I did notice that. Yeah, that was weird.
He said there, and then like, I don't know, his voice just seemed a little awful episode. I wonder if he like burnt it out in between 47, 48 or something like that. Like where he got sick in between and he's like recovering. Jeff has never called in sick. Like, who would replace Jeff for an episode? I have no idea. Does Mark Burnett come in?
Boston Rob.
Boston Rob's always on like retainer. He's
on standby.
Boston Rob gets paid.
He's in Fiji.
He's always available. He's in every show you watch now. He's in every show. Every show that's like strategic nowadays, Boston Rob has to be part of. As long as it's not on Netflix.
It's kind of true. Yeah.
As long as it's not on Netflix, basically. So, all right. Camilla and Kyle both love so after the Notting Hill talk, which we did talk about earlier, Camilla and Kyle talk about how they love Holes and The Departed. And also they have a lot of connections to the point where you're like, it's almost like they got cast by the same person. What? Yeah,
the show is like, what if we just cast copies of the same, like 4 people?
Just cast like the same people over and over. To the point where we actually have 2.
Then they'll bond on the island.
I was thinking for a second, like they're the right age. Are they single? Could they fall in love? Is this a Matt and Franny situation? But I didn't sense a romantic anything in undertones with her. But then again, Dee and Austin didn't have romantic undertones till later the season for their story.
Some of the most beautiful relationships start as friendships.
Some of the most beautiful relationships start with holes. That's
that is true.
Everyone has them. That's all I'm saying. All right. So Charity does not like Kyle. Right after we get this positive thing with Kyle and Camilla, Charity's like, I don't like Kyle. It's like, Charity's first to go. Too much positivity about Kyle for you to be saying that right now. And then, of course, and
then as soon as she said that, everyone else is like, that was weird.
Yeah, and then there's like this.
Camilla goes around and she's like, we should target Charity, right?
Fake mistrust of Charity she planted, like such a villain move. But this is what Survivor wants, and this is what I want. Yeah, do it. Go for it.
100%.
Be the villain.
And she did it in a way that wasn't like, I mean, obviously we're watching it in a montage of her like saying it multiple times, but I felt she did it in a good way. It wasn't too over the top. It wasn't like, she didn't like keep bringing it up or like, I didn't think she went too far with it. So
do you think Jeff's in the edit bay watching back the edit and they're like, hey Jeff, what do you think of the scene? And Jeff's like watching somebody be villain. He's like, do it. He's like Emperor Palpatine. Do it. Do it.
Yes.
Join the dark side. Jeff's like,
be a villain.
Villains can lead to powers that some might find unnatural. And Jeff's just having like a grand old time in the editing bay. Do it. do it. Be a villain.
He's like zooming in slowly.
David's like,
let's go. He's like adding intense music.
David's like, I could be a hero or a villain. Just like, do it. Do it.
Be a villain.
Be the villain. I mean, honestly, that's what I'm saying. Be the villain. Embrace it. Be the villain. We have too many seasons in a row of people, everybody, all 18 people trying to be heroes. I'm over it. I'm so over it to the point where it's like, yes, I have all 18 people are villains. It'd be too much, but just like a good balance. Let's just like, go ahead.
At least half of them. I think at least 9 people.
Maybe
being villains
we could have a season of like 10 heroes and 10 villains. Just a thought.
Oh, that's a good idea. You should vote for that for season 50.
And that could be probably the most popular season of Survivor ever. Now, I don't know where I got that idea from, but it did just come to me. We could do a season of heroes and villains, half and half, and it could probably be the best Survivor season ever. I don't know where I got the...
Maybe. Do you think a villain would win? Or
I think that villains have more fun. Google it. I don't know where I got that from. That definitely feels like something a villain would say on the show.
Yeah.
And then somebody like, maybe they could cast Boston Rob, because this would be like, what, his 8th time playing? And Boston Rob could be like, oh, it's all in a matter of how you see it. I don't know. It comes to me like this is the most popular season. Really, I feel like an idea of. Anyways, but all jokes aside, come on, guys. Like you think for real, like the show would be like, okay, our most popular season is heroes versus villains, half heroes, half villains. And they would always want to balance the two in every season. But
you would think
they're just like so much on the positivity train that they're kind of a little bit getting off of it, but they're still heavily on it. Let's be real.
Yeah. Maybe the season 50 will actually turn that around, because I don't know if people come back with grudges, being a bit bitter. That could be
Jeff
a good thing.
Openly stated, and I don't have a source on this one off the top of my head, but Jeff did openly say for 50 he wants people to come back who want to celebrate Survivor and don't have grudges.
Well, grudges against people, not against Survivor.
No, he doesn't want anybody having any grudges, period.
He was saying no grudges? Dang.
Right.
Come on, Jeff.
I'm aware.
Give us the villains.
It's almost like Jeff doesn't know the most popular season of the show or something. It's like he wasn't there to witness it and then see the result and then see everybody and how it like, it's almost like Jeff doesn't, it's almost like he's so in the weeds. He doesn't even remember the past sometimes.
Maybe he thinks the reason that season was so successful was because of all the heroes.
He's like, if only season was Oops All Heroes, that would have been even better received.
Oops All Heroes. I would 100% wear that merch. That's so funny.
I want a season of Oops All Villains and like as a returnee season.
Absolutely.
Yeah, why can't
can I interest you in House of Villains?
Yeah, that's a cheap show. Like just cheaply made show. I'm off of the House of Villains train. I will say that if they ever did back-to-back seasons, one's Oops All Heroes, one's Oops All Villains, I would buy merch for both. I would buy probably all the merch for both.
That'd be amazing.
And obviously all the merch of Oops All Heroes has to be like blue. It has to be like nice colors. And the merch of Oops All Villains like red, black, So blue, white.
But they should somehow they should do both seasons at the same time, but each episode is 1 hour. So like the first hour is from the season of all heroes and then the second hour is the season of all villains. It's so confusing.
That's so confusing.
That would be so fun.
Dumb. We're done with that idea already. All right, so Say gets
Rabbit Trail
Say gets
over
the idol, and it doesn't clarify when it's good until I'm gonna guess Final 6, Final 5, Final 5 probably.
Yeah, I don't think they said.
They didn't say. I was waiting for it. I was like, is this like the idols from last season, which had limited time use? Though Jeff did openly say in the podcast that he hated that people settled for the one tribal idol, and I'm like, well, then don't put it in the game.
Don't make it an option.
Just like, why would anybody ever want to settle for one tribal idol? He said that on the podcast, basically. So I'm guessing this is just a regular idol.
Like that idol was used as a part of Operation Italy, unless I'm wrong.
Again, Jeff doesn't.
What? That was so
Jeff
important.
Doesn't
That's
see
crazy.
Things that way. Okay, he sees that he puts something in the game. And he wants people to be as aggressive as possible. No passive play at all, ever.
Sure.
In any regards.
Yeah.
He would rather Sam made the idol good until the end and then did Operation Italy on top of it. I don't know. Yeah, Operation Italy happened because, yes, exactly, because the one tribal idol, but it's whatever. I'm not going to sit here and bash on Jeff. He's letting us vote on 50, and I'm legit excited for 50. So we have the immunity challenge, Rebekah. And go ahead.
All right. So, yes, this immunity challenge, it was immunity and reward. So the winners and second place got a toolkit as well. But yes, this challenge was everyone had to climb up and over a triangle net structure obstacle thing. And then 2 at a time had to crawl through a net tunnel, which those things stress me out. That looks super difficult to get through. But so after they got through the tunnels, one person had to use a club to smash a mask, which would then release a key, and then use that key to unlock a sled. And then the whole tribe takes that sled and slides it along a track, and then had to like lift it over sandbag obstacles along the way, get it to the top of a platform. They had to like slide it up a big ramp with using rope. And then at the top, of course, the great equalizer, a puzzle we've never seen before, the Survivor logo.
You're being sarcastic, but we've actually never seen the puzzle for the Survivor 48 logo before. So, haha.
This is true.
Wow.
This is true. Actually.
Dude, I cannot wait for us to get to 50 and 51. And we are what Jeff called the next evolution of the game to get away from what he has called the new era is a series, which is supposed... He said that, but then people reference like season 6 and 13 in the beginning of the episode, whatever. Anyways, he's 41 through 49, supposed to be like a series you binge is how Jeff has pitched it, but I'm like, that doesn't make sense. They don't connect that way.
Yeah. And they're all kind of the same. Right. It would be like watching
in a bad way.
Season 1 over and over and over.
Right. It's like,
don't binge watch these. Watch them spread out.
Yeah, you're gonna get. If you thought Survivor's just 41 through 49, I'd be like, oof, I'm sorry. If like imagine somebody only watching New Era, they're like, this is Survivor. Like, no, there's better.
Actually, this is a good segue. So my dad recently watched season 46. Yes. Is that the one that Liz was on? Did I get that right? Yes. Great. Nailed it. Because I didn't realize this, but I think that was his first season of Survivor.
Well, that's not a bad one.
It's not bad. It's a pretty good one from the new era. If I had realized that, I would have recommended like a classic season. But he watched this because he signed up for Liz's email list and like didn't know that she was on Survivor. So he
unironically signed up for her?
Yeah, unironically. He's like paying her $9 a month or whatever.
Oh my gosh. I'm not saying this is a bad deal. I'm just surprised.
No, yeah. It was like so out of the blue. He just like randomly texted me one day and he was like, do you know who Liz Wilcox from Survivor is? And I was like, absolutely I do. And I immediately sent him the clip of her breaking down over Applebee's because of course. And then he explained that and I was like, yeah. And I kind of told him about the season and was like, you know, it was a good one. The first 4 episodes are tough, but like after that, it's really good. So he watched it.
First off, 46 is my favorite New Era season. It gets first place of the New Era so far. But
yeah, it's a really good one.
Those series of podcasts where we joked about how rich Liz was, only to end the season with a sponsorship from Liz, which by the way, we got $0 for.
So iconic.
We just needed permission from her to do it. And they did. They offered me to do, when I did that, they were like, do you want to have like an affiliate link? I was like, no need. Not necessary.
Yeah. It's all
like,
good.
You clearly don't know where this is going.
Yeah. That was so fun. And I told my dad all about that. He thought it was hilarious. And yeah. And then I sent him the photos because I met Charlie and Q at the Survivor Beach Drop thing. And he was very excited about that. Yeah, he's a big fan of the Q skirt. So anyway, that's the rabbit trail about my dad watching Survivor.
I was hoping he got in. I was hoping he signed up for the Liz email thing because of our ad in the finale 46, but I guess not.
That would have been amazing. Yeah. No, my parents don't listen to this podcast, I don't think.
That's okay.
My mom might. I don't know. Shout out to my mom if she's listening.
That's fine. Mary doesn't listen. Well, I mean, to be fair, Mary hears all my Survivor opinions for free. She doesn't even listen to the podcast. But like,
right. She gets the condensed version.
Right. I don't think Mary's ever watched like a video I've ever made on my channel. Like, I've made like 300, 400 videos because she just hears.
Whoa, is it that many? Whoa.
Easily that.
That's impressive.
That's how many scripted videos there are. I don't know how many. And then you add on the podcast. Yeah, it's like I put out 1 or 2 videos a week and then the podcast. So.
Yeah, that makes sense. There you go.
Works out. So Steph apologizes for the puzzle back at camp. She's like, I could sense people were ticked about it. And then sure enough, 2 seconds later, Sai and the guys are all dumping on her. Not really Justin, but Sai, Kevin, and Cedric are dumping on her. Yeah. Either Kevin's like, I'm equally responsible, but I'm not going to say that out loud.
But also, right. Yeah, see, I feel like that strategy is kind of the one you want to take at this point. Like, I don't know. It's so tricky because I get it, and it doesn't always, like, Stephanie taking the blame, like, that sort of move doesn't always result in the person getting voted out. But, like, why put a bigger target on yourself? You know what I mean? Like, if no one,
it was too late. Stephanie was done. The moment they built that 4-person alliance with the Idol, it was over.
Yeah.
Stephanie or Mary was gone.
You're right. But it's still like, I don't know. You can say like, hey guys, like that sucked. I'm bummed we lost. All right, let's go. Let's figure this out. You know, like, I don't know. But you're right. She was done before. It was probably too late anyway.
Before the challenge even happened, I think that alliance was set in place and that was enough. And her blowing it just added on. Like, sure, maybe had Kevin and Cy been on the puzzle and not Stephanie or Mary. Maybe, but I just think they were, it seemed like Cedric, Cy, and well, Kevin was kind of like being silent. They were looking for any, it was gonna be Stephanie or Mary no matter what. It was gonna be no matter what. Definitely. So we're at camp and that's basically the vibe. We go to the tribal council. They did a lot of shots of how impressive it was.
Sorry, one more thing before we get to tribal. There was a seed planted that Say doesn't seem to trust Justin because he was saying that Stephanie didn't say a name when they were talking. So that may be important later.
That's true. And Stephanie definitely said Say's name.
Yeah. Yes. And also, like, yeah, I don't know. Justin was not a very believable liar. So that was just a small seed that might become something
Justin
later.
felt a bit purpled, in my opinion. There were a few people this episode felt a bit purpled, but also it's only episode 1. Genevieve, like who was Genevieve until episode 5? You know what I mean? Or episode 4, or whatever it was. True. What about Genevieve?
That being said, I don't know. I did not, like, I didn't take specific notes, but I don't know if anyone was technically purpled, as in like zero confessional.
I mean, I haven't looked at the official chart, but Mary was keeping track next to me, and I was like, "Did Justin get one?" She's like, "No, Justin got one." I'm like, "All right."
Yeah.
So, anyways, okay, so we go to tribal. They show shots of it. I'm like, honest to goodness, like most of the time, I notice when the tribal looks different. I'm like, "Is this?" I guess it's different. Like, I honestly did not tell, and I hate saying that because, like, I remember the 44 one so specifically because it had like the whole like shields and knights and swords theme, and like they've had some cool ones.
Oh yeah.
Especially over the years, but in the new era, they've even had some ones that have stood out. This one, I'm like, did we have this? Has this one been done before already? Like, I forgot. Like, I honestly was like, this could have been one they used already. I forgot. That's how I felt. So it was whatever.
No, that's
kind of whatever. The logo of the season, kind of whatever. I don't know. I feel like it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I'm not going to judge a season based on the tribal council and the logo. To be frank with you, if so, we're in bad shape for 50 if we're judging based on the logo. Oh my gosh! I just want to say there's still time to fix it. There is still time to fix that logo.
Survivor, please. There's still time
until the buffs and like everything. Like, nothing's been made for 50 yet. I assume in terms of like merchandise. I don't know. Like,
well, because we're gonna vote on the tribe colors and everything.
Right, we're gonna talk about in this episode, in this podcast. But I'm just saying, like, it's not too late to fix the logo. It's not too late to hear feedback. Jeff needs to hear from somebody who's rich. Apparently, that's how Jeff operates. For those wondering,
get Liz on the horn.
Get Liz on the horn. Jeff needs to hear from somebody who's rich, and then he'll change his mind. It can't be from any of us plebs. Okay, you make less than, I think, like what, 50 million, 49 million, not enough. Less than 50. Ooh, I don't know. I can't listen to you. Okay, so we go tribal, and the way Say and Steph kind of go at it, I was not expecting this much heat in the first tribal.
Yeah, it was interesting because, like, I really thought Say was gonna talk herself into getting voted out because, like, she was in a good alliance, but, like, I don't know, that was a pretty risky move for the first tribal, just like being that.
It was unnecessary because Steph's going.
Yeah.
And it does, in my opinion, I was like, Say was playing good up until tribal. Because when she got to tribal, it was kind of like, Say, you're kind of like if I were your alliance member, I would have some seeds of doubt now about how you're playing.
Yeah. And I feel like we kind of saw that on like Kevin and Justin's faces a couple times. They were like, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know about this, but we'll see. Because I don't think Mary's like in the, because Stephanie ends up being voted out 4-1. There is she plays her shot in the dark. It's not, nothing happens. Justin talks about how he's making a risky vote and he votes the way we expect. So maybe he was considering voting Stephanie. I don't know. Like, that would have been,
but it's like, okay, if you're going into tribal and you're on the fence and then like that happens, like I don't know, like I probably would have voted for Say if I was like on the fence going into tribal.
No, you got to hold your alliance and then reevaluate back at camp. Because what's best case is that Stephanie votes with him and Mary, right? And then they have a tie vote. Like, okay, are we really gonna like?
Well, I guess that's what I'm saying. Like, if you have an alliance, that's different. But I'm saying, like, if you're on the fence, if it's, you know, Kevin and Justin are like truly considering both alliances, then it's like, I don't know, that conversation might have tipped me towards voting for Say.
I don't think Mary's in a dead spot. I don't think Mary's dead now. I think with Stephanie gone, I think Mary can very much, there's some maneuverability here. It's not locked. It's not a Boston Rob alliance where he's like, nope, nothing can be changed ever unless I say so. It's not like that. There's definitely, Mary can work her way in. If they can win an immunity challenge, she'll have time to make it happen. Because you know what, this is day 3. Day 4 is the immunity challenge, the way New Era Survivor is. So yeah, you're gonna have to make something happen right away there, Mary. And Mary was like cursing when that vote happened. Yeah. So that's kind of the way that tribal went. Shot in the dark, another one unsuccessful. I think we're 2 for 14 now on the number played and the number successful. So that's about right for every 1 out of 6.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Right. I still think that the shot in the dark should become like a physical dice or something, but you know.
Yeah. That'd be
something
fun.
we can actually witness being played, like an actual gamble or something. Anyways, so next up on Survivor, David has 4 nipples.
Yeah.
He said it, not me. I mean, I said it only because he said it. I didn't know that. Kind of a weird thing to say.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it is, yeah. But I mean, again, you know, like kind of leaning into the personality thing, trying to lower his threat level a bit. So maybe a good strategy.
How can I be perfect if I like Notting Hill and I have 4 nipples? Right?
Yeah.
And I'm telling everybody about the letters around camp. Yeah. We'll see if it's actual strategy. Let's move on to our new section of the podcast, Survivor 50 voting.
Ooh.
Now, this, I'm assuming this will only happen 4 times a season. Jeff has openly stated we will not know the results of these votes until 50 airs. The players will not know until 50 films, though I can assume we're going to know like tribe colors and stuff before 50 airs, obviously. Like that, stuff like that gets leaked. When the cast gets leaked, because it will get leaked this summer, you better believe it. The returnee cast people are on top of like, you know, a fat kid on cake, you know, like me on cake, maybe, I guess. Don't want to be knocking all fat kids around here. I like cake. Who doesn't? So anyways, I was watching a recipe of flourless cake. I'm like, why? Anyways, all right. So 4 categories to vote on. We're going to go through each of them. We're going to tell you what our opinions are. Please vote the way you want. Like, to be clear, I do not care if you vote against what we're doing. I want you, this is just for life. And I said this different podcasts, and I'm gonna say it again because it's my opinion in life. Just vote the way you want in every category. Just vote what you think is best. Do not vote because people are pressuring you. Vote for whatever you think is best. Now, if you were like, I have zero opinion on this, sure, vote the way that Rebekah and I are voting, or the way. First off, start with what I'm voting for, because if Rebekah differs from me,
sure.
No, I'm saying like ignore Rebekah. I'm using my influence here.
Yes, that makes sense. No, that's
but
great.
I'm saying if you legit don't care about something and you're like, I don't care, then go ahead, let us influence you. But we're gonna tell you we're gonna vote. Please vote the way you want. I do like vote if you want to vote for everything to stay the same the way it is. Go for it. I mean, it's up to you. Do whatever you want. So, all right, first category, Rebekah. Yeah. This is the big one that we had the most questions of. I think it's the tribe colors. When we were talking the other day.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, like they, you know, have the options up on the website currently that you can go vote for.
And I will put these on screen on YouTube for people to look at. But yes, the website's in the description. Please go vote. Please.
Also, can I just say, I would love for us to be able to vote on the URL for this website. If we could make that one of the first things that we vote on, because it's survivor50cbs.votenow.tv.
All right.
Like when Jeff said
let's just talk about the vote.
I was
just talk about the vote.
So lost.
We're just in the weeds.
We'll just talk
about the vote. First vote is tribe colors. What are the tribe color options? It is unfortunately not pick what colors are your favorite and we'll combine. We know. What are they?
Yes, they are. So option A is blue, orange, and green.
Ugh.
Option B is orange, teal, and purple. And option C is green, red, or yellow.
I gotta be real with you. These are just different variations of what we're already getting with Like the odd numbered seasons are like red, blue, yellow. But like you're telling me what's it? Red, what? Red, yellow, and what?
Red, orange, and green, or green, red, and yellow.
Green, red, and yellow is, I think, the colors of 41. In fact, it is. Yes. It is the colors of 41.
Yep.
So it's like none of these. I am the least impressed by this category. I'm like, who cares? I'm voting option B because I know you told me off air you're voting option B. Mary told me she's voting option B. I'm like, this is one where I do not care. I'll vote what you guys are voting. Otherwise, like who? Yeah. Oh, I can't believe this. Also, it does confirm 3 tribes.
Yes, I think that's the most interesting thing of this is like, oh, okay, it is 3 tribes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the teal. Everything else is like meh. So yeah, but that's just my 2 cents.
Yeah. Option B is what I'm voting for, but it's disappointing that that's all the color options we get. I'm not disappointed by 3 tribes. I kind of expected 3 tribes, just the way it's been for so long. And if they're capping off the new era, makes sense. But I was hoping for like at least 3 more sets of options. I don't know. I was hoping for a drop down menu of options, but that's probably too many. So yeah, this is it. This is all the options, really. All right. Not a good start, but I do like the other 3 categories. So let's go through those. Yeah.
So the next category is rice or no rice. So it's just a yes or no question of, do we give them rice at the beginning of the season or no?
What are your thoughts?
And my thoughts are, I think it's interesting that I don't know if we are supposed to assume that it's still a 26-day season.
It is.
I'm guessing
Jeff
that's
confirmed,
the case. Okay.
And that's their contract feature.
Okay.
Yeah.
In that case, I mean, yeah, I think I could see this going either way. I don't know. I'm a fan of giving them rice personally, just because, like, I think Jeff mentioned this at some point, but, you know, you give them a little clearer head so they can think through the strategy a little bit more. I don't know. Could make for some more interesting gameplay.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, maybe no rice would if people are being more erratic.
Well, they've already done no rice for I'm going to theorize it's going to be 49 as well for 9 seasons in a row. So I'm kind of in the boat of let's vote for something different. And in this case, I'm voting rice. Yeah. Give them rice, let them eat. And I think letting them eat will make them think better and do more. Survivor wants to be aggressive and then doesn't give them anything to fuel their body.
No fuel.
Right. And I'm like, okay, kind of like counterintuitive. So if you want aggressive gameplay, feed them. So I'm voting to give them rice.
I wish we could vote to like give them Applebee's every day.
Oh my gosh, nice. I would. If that's one of the votes, is like, hey, who do you want sponsoring a reward? I'm voting Applebee's.
That's incredible.
I don't know if Applebee's is in business at that point, but I don't care. I'm voting for it. Yeah, all right, I'm voting rice. So what's the next category?
Yes, the next category is Final Four fire making. Do we keep it or lose it?
This one I could see going either way. I'm hoping we get rice, and I don't care what tribe colors, but this one, I think this might be we'll see what the casual fan base thinks. That's really the question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then like you mentioned this in our previous podcast where we went into this in more depth, but like even if it's voted as no, like maybe they could make it do a fire making at final 5 or final 3 or something.
The fire making should become the final immunity challenge if they keep it a final 3.
Yes.
And I was saying do the fire making as the final 4 immunity challenge, do it at sunset, do it at that location that's like super up on a hill and they've done for a few times now where like drop the ball down the chutes and it's like it has that like beautiful look. I don't know, they're up on I don't know where it is in Fiji, but I just know it's like their most scenic location and it doesn't require running around because it's like a location clearly built for an endurance challenge or for just like something that's very much contained. Sometimes they'll do the thing where it's like the balls go down a paddle and you got to get them in the little divots or whatever it's called. Mm-hmm. That's the location I'm talking about. Do Final Four immunity challenge as the fire making there. And I am voting to get rid of the fire making because we haven't seen that since 34. So it has been since 2016 we haven't seen them not have fire making at forced at Final Four. For those who are wondering, because I did see somebody comment on this the other day, if there is a tie vote of 4, they're going to do fire making, but like that requires the players to make the decision to have a tie vote. That's fine.
Yeah, it's not default, right?
Correct. So I'm voting to get rid of fire
wouldn't that be
making.
crazy if we voted no and then they had to do it anyway because it was a tie
that's
vote?
Fine. That means they got to. I'm okay with that. If they decide, if the players decide we cannot make a decision, we have a tie vote. That is okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
I hate when it's forced and we pretend like it's something more than it is. I don't know. The best fire making for me has been when it's like they were not ready for this. My favorite's like when the seasons when they don't know how to make fire. Though at this point, if you don't make fire, it's truly on you. It has been pushed so hard by the show. You really should know how to make fire at this point. It's ridiculous. All right, what are you voting for on that category, Rebekah?
I feel somewhat indifferent about this, but I will vote to get rid of it because, like you said, it's something different. I don't know. Yeah, we've seen the same thing a lot, so
it will be,
might as well, get rid of it.
Season 50 will have been 16 seasons between 34 and 50.
That's a lot of seasons.
We've had fire making. Yeah, it's like, all right, can we like take a break? I'm sure Jeff will bring everything back for 51 anyways. So, all right,
exactly.
What's our last category? This one, by the way, I think is a slam dunk.
Our last category, slam dunk, and the one I'm most excited about. It is, do we do a live reunion show in LA or do we immediately do it after the votes on Fiji?
Okay, for anyone who's on the fence on this one, do not vote for Fiji. Yes. This is the only time I'm like vote what you want. If you want them to stay in Fiji, go for it. But like I am like, this is the one I'm most adamant about. If they do it in LA, number one, the vote reveal is months and months after the season's filmed. Therefore, theoretically, we'll see. Theoretically, it means that they don't know who won. We'll see. But again, we got that. But also you get like the questions afterwards. The reunion show is like, everyone got to see the edited show and we get like different responses than like talking about, oh, what was it like finding the Beware advantage on day 2? Like that's the kind of questions you get on Fiji.
Right.
But in LA, you'll be like, what do you think about the fan response to you? Like people thought they hated you. They liked that you had 4 nipples, David. Like weird stuff like that's the questions we get when there's a live reunion. I want the weird questions back. We've been missing that.
100%.
So vote the way you want, but if you're wanting to know why LA, well, also I'm hoping, and this was brought up in an interview, could Jeff do some sort of fun entrance, like not just walk into this, but like, and maybe not skydiving. The dude is like 60 years old, but you know, something where it's like silly.
Yeah, don't break
something
Jeff,
silly where he like has to travel through like LA and like he has to take the I forgot. If you ever watched the Californians on SNL, that like, hey, why don't you take the 5 and get out of here? And it's like, I don't know. We could get some sort of silliness with Jeff having to like travel through LA to deliver the votes. Doesn't have to be something extreme for his body.
That would be so fun.
Right. We haven't done something like that since season 11 was the last time, if I recall. Yeah, I know. This is what I mean. This is stuff that like, sure, that will cost money. I think the show is already planning on doing a live reunion. And I think they know this is a slam dunk.
Yeah, they wouldn't give us the option.
I think they know this is a slam dunk option. I think they would be shocked to see us pick Fiji, to be frank with you.
Yeah.
This is the only one I'm like, they know this is a slam dunk. The other ones, Jeff doesn't really know. But this one, he has to know. He has to know.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's the way I'm voting on all of those. And we'll see what happens. So I don't know when the next section of voting will be, but I am looking forward to seeing what will be revealed next. I know that Jeff did indicate in his speech that Survivor CBS did upload videos of on their channel. He indicated that we'll be able to vote on twists, advantages, idols or no idols, stuff like that. So I'm sure idols and no idols will probably be part of the next section of voting. We'll talk about that because I want to see how it's presented on the vote.
And out of all the things to be like meh about, like that's fine. Like the tribe colors, sure, that's fine. Like let us vote to bring the live reunion back and I'll be happy.
Live reunion. Let us vote on rights. Let's vote on file for fire making. Let's see if people really do want no idols. I'm not voting for no idols. I'm voting for idols. Now, if they ask me about Beware advantages, no. Get rid of them. I'm over Beware advantage. They waste time. But I am voting for idols. So I know some people don't want them, but I'm like, regular idols are great. Regular idols.
Yes.
Personal opinion. Okay. All right, let's move on to fantasy team time. Let's not dwell too much on this. Can you pull up our fantasy team? I know this season, so many people joined, and you could still join, by the way. It is not too late. It is absolutely not too late. In fact, if anything, you have more information on who to put on your team. You get to pick 2 people to be on your team. You get to pick 1 person as your winner pick, which can be anybody. It doesn't have to be somebody who's on your team. And you get points based on whether they win immunity challenges, if they vote correctly, if they win the game, of course. And even if they get voted off, they still get a point an episode for every episode that they missed. So having somebody go early, like get this, Rebekah, Stephanie's on Mary's team.
Mm-hmm. Oh no.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Well,
are you in our fantasy group right now by chance? Are you looking at it?
I am. I just pulled it up. It was down while the episode was airing.
The website was overloaded.
People were trying to access it.
Website's overloaded. Link in the description if you want to join. By the way, it's for all paid patrons. The winner gets to pick a story video for me to make from any season Last season, the winner picked Jacob Kane. You can watch that video up on YouTube. Just proofs in the pudding is what I'm saying on that one. Proof. You win, you get a video, and there's the proof. Okay, so who is on your team, Rebekah? Do you know?
Yes, so my team is Kamala and Cedric. So that'll be interesting.
Yeah. Can you pull up my team and see who I have?
Yeah. Yes, I believe I can.
Yeah, if you click on my team, I don't have it in front of me, otherwise I'd pull up myself. Because the draft for our teams didn't happen until the episode started. But if you join now, I do believe you get to pick whoever you want on your team.
Oh, you have Joe and David.
Yes. Flipping yes.
Nice.
No, that's really good. I loaded up the top of my, so I put everybody in order by gliding at Stephanie. Stephanie's pretty high up on my list.
Yeah.
My list was picked based solely off of who was in the preview for 48. And I'm like, all right, who got professionals where I heard their voice and saw their face kind of thing. So, and Stephanie was one of them. So thankfully that didn't, Joe, nice. Good. Joe and David. I mean, I don't think David's winning, maybe, but I don't think he's winning at the moment.
Well, you put your sole survivor pick as Joe. That's right. So.
Well, thanks for spoiling winner analysis, but yeah. It's okay. I'm just joking with you. Yeah, that's who I have on my team. So, I mean, I'm going to be open about it. We do like 28 podcasts a season. It's ad nauseum. You hear what I have.
I put 7 votes on Stephanie to get voted out tonight. So that's sick.
You put how many?
7.
Oh my gosh. All right. I think I only put like 1 or 2. I spread them evenly across. So that's another thing. If you join the league, every week you get to vote on who you think you get like 10 votes, 10 points per tribe to vote on who you think will go. And until I have like solid evidence, like now I might put more on charity because I think charity's going to go soon.
Yeah.
I spread my points pretty evenly because I don't know on first episode who the flip's going. How would I know? I have no idea. Nothing to go off of. I would not have guessed Stephanie though. That's for sure.
Yeah. The other thing is I filled this out like 3 weeks ago and forgot every decision that I made. So yeah, that worked out. Good job.
Last season, Rebekah had Sam and Rachel and somehow didn't win the league. She dropped the ball hard.
I know. I'm never going to be able to top that. And I didn't even win.
Yeah, I don't know I don't think Cedric and Camilla are top 2 this season, but what do I know? What do I know? All right, so that's our we'll talk a little bit less about our fantasy team every week. But I just want to like promote it like, hey, it's not too late to join. All paid patrons can join. Winner gets to pick the story video. You do, and by the way, this is not like a do or die. Like it's not like you have to have the winner in your team to win, because I had Gabe and Annika on my team last season and I finished in 5th, and it was a close 5th.
Yeah.
And I had Gabe and Annika. Gabe was gone episode 10. Annika was gone pre-merge, and I still finished 5th. Voting correctly is the most important thing you can do for your team to get points. Vote every week and vote as correct as possible. And you're going to hear on this podcast who we think's going. Like you hear who's in the pits and who's good. Especially tomorrow when I do winner analysis of the mayor. I give you everything I tell you is what I vote with. So I won a 46 league, and then I got 5th last season. 46 though, I did have Kenzie. But I also had Banu. Nice. Banu dragged that team.
Oh, that's right.
Banu almost single-handedly ruined my team.
Which, to be fair, they kind of got you on that because he was in a lot of the previews.
See, I base it off the previews. What else am I going to base it on? All right, let's move on to what's new on Patreon, aside from the fantasy team that we just talked about. All these podcasts are early and ad-free on there for all patrons, paid or free. Videos for paid patrons right now, angry and iconic vote-offs, or angry and iconic vote, like confessionals. Got a lot of good ones in there. How to improve the shot in the dark. I asked a lot of you guys for your ideas, and I kind of like parsed through them. I'm like, okay, here's what's realistic that they could do to improve it, and here's what's like way off base. But if they did it, I'd be like, okay, let's see what happens. And then Survivor Philippines stories, along with some other story videos, are on there. Survivor Philippines stories, I have Jeff Kent on there, Abby Maria, Malcolm Freeberg's being worked on right now. And I'm working on the Traders video for season 3 with Carolyn, Boston Rob, Jeremy, and Tony. So a video about all of them on the Traders. All right, let's move on to question of the week. Rebekah, did you come up with the question of the week?
I did, yes.
Good, because I forgot to remind you. All right, last season, do you remember that I dominated?
I do remember that. Last season and every season, I believe.
I don't remember the other seasons. I just know last season's the only one we actually kept track of the score. So you're in charge to keep track of the score again this season. Let's see who comes out on top. Now, I am going to try to... Well, I thought I toned down my questions at the end of last season, and you still were missing, so I don't know what else to do.
Here's the thing. It doesn't matter if they're hard questions or easy questions because I only remember random specific things and then forget like very basic things. So yeah, it's just a shot in the dark.
Rebecca's like, whether it's 5 out of 5 difficulty or 1 out of 5, I'm getting the same percentage correct.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's start with your question for me, Rebecca. What do you got for me?
Alrighty. So I'm hoping that I have amped up the difficulty this season, but we shall see.
I'm listening.
Do you know who turned down a formal offer to appear on season 8 All-Stars due to the fact that she had recently started co-hosting the talk show The View?
Oh, Elizabeth Hasselbeck.
You knew this off the top of your head. Okay,
so her name wasn't Hasselbeck at the time. She married Matt Hasselbeck or whoever, but her name was Elizabeth Filarski on season 2.
Yes. Okay.
Was that your hard question?
Yeah. That was my hard question, and I'll make next week's harder.
Okay. All right, here.
Yeah.
I feel so bad. Like I'm not trying to like. I just like I don't know, kind of just knew, kind of like a random fact I already knew. Okay, so your question is, Rebecca, what's the only season of Survivor to have the word Survivor at the top of the logo instead of the middle?
Ooh.
The only season ever.
Ooh, that's interesting. Is it? Wait, now I'm trying to remember what the season 50 logo looks like because of the way you're phrasing this question. But no, I think it's an older. Because I feel like I just saw it recently, but now I'm overthinking it. I'm gonna say season 50.
Yep, that is
it
correct.
Season 50?
It's season 50.
Nice.
Because
Let's
it's just an ugly logo. I could not make
that logo has been haunting my nightmares. So
not make a question about it. So it's so awful. All right, so that's 1 point for me and 1 point for you. So we're tied. Hey,
we're tied. We'll see if I can keep that going this whole season.
Keep that up. All right, let's move on to winner analysis. A gentle reminder that tomorrow Mary and I will be doing winner analysis. And then the following week, week 2, Madison will join Mary and I to do winner analysis that week. So that will be Madison's first Survivor podcast. She has a pretty big work schedule, so fitting her into our rotation is a bit different than you and Mary, who are very consistently available at the same time every week.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah.
So winner analysis. This is our top 3. We'll put it in the description. Let's see if we can actually get our win. So Mary was the only one last season, Rebecca, to have Rachel in her top in week 1. Mary had Rachel, I believe, number 1 in week 1.
That's classic Mary. That's impressive. That's crazy.
Right, I'm glad one of us did, because it wasn't me. I didn't have Rachel in my top 6, let alone top 3. Let's see if one of us can get it this season. So who is your number 3?
Yeah. My number 3 is Kevin.
Kevin, really?
Yeah. Kevin, again, we're early in the season, so it's a little hard to tell. But I don't know. I just felt like we got a lot of positive content from Kevin. I wanted to pick, I guess, spoilers. My top 2 are on the Purple Tribe because they got the most attention. But, I wanted to pick someone who was from a different tribe. And yeah, I think that he got a lot of attention. Obviously, he, did some things in this episode, so that was part of it. But I think he's in a really good spot too, kind of in a swing vote-ish position. And I think he's starting to become, aware that Say may not be the best person to be aligned with. So I'm hoping that he and Justin can kind of spearhead maybe a blindside there. So, a lot of this is kind of based on I think some seeds were planted this episode, and we'll see if they kind of grow into something. But yeah, that's who I've got for my number 3. How about you?
Well, we don't have a theme song yet, so I have nothing to obsess over. For those who are wondering, they don't do the theme song until episode 2. That's what they did for 45, 46, 47. So I'm assuming next week we'll get the theme song. But yeah, no theme song this week. So nothing for me to obsessively watch 50 times and talk about. Everyone's like, thank goodness. Okay. My number 3 is David. We kind of talked about this episode, but he has got a lot of positive content. He seems to be playing down his threat level. Is it intentional? I don't know. Because Tony in Winners at War was I'm intentionally getting everybody's guard down and I'm a sucker punch them. David doesn't say anything to that extent, but I can't imagine it's not on purpose, doing all the things he's doing, even talking about how nobody can be on the bottom yet, stuff like that. David has a lot of positive content, probably the most visible on Orange, in my opinion. I think I'm high on David. I am concerned long term that David gets post merge and goes out at like, and what about Genevieve's kind of spot, like final 6, final 7, where it's like, yeah, it's expected. But let's say he goes on an immunity streak like Rachel, it could happen.
Right.
Right. I don't know what his strengths are in challenges. I know he's, I know he's strong, but I don't know if can he do endurance? Can he do other things? Is there more than meets the eye? Is he a transformer? So we'll see come the post merge. But I think David's locked for post merge, and that alone is like, okay, you're high up on my list. And also you're very charismatic. You got a lot of positive content. We'll see. Bonnie also got a lot of positive content in his first episode. So that doesn't not always indicative.
That is
not
true.
always indicative. All right.
That's true. I do think that they're very different people.
Very much. I think one is aware of what's going on. The other one was like, I want to win 1 million hearts. And you can take a guess at who is who. All right. Who's your number 2?
Yep. My number 2 is Eva.
Solid choice.
Like I said, Purple Tribe got a lot of attention this episode. So, and with the fact that they not only didn't go to tribal, but dominated in challenges, I really think that this tribe is going to be really solid. I think they're going to go into the merge with numbers. So all of that is kind of leading me towards, I'm guessing the winner might be on this tribe. Eva got a lot of attention, a lot of positive attention, and a lot of personal content. Not necessarily a lot of strategy yet, although I guess you could say like bonding with Joe was strategy, although I don't think that was like her intention with it, but it was like a good strategic move, if you will.
I mean, all of her content's been positive, and then she connects with Joe. Yeah.
Exactly. And just with the fact that they didn't go to tribal, we wouldn't expect to see a ton of strategy necessarily. No. So, I've got my eye on her. I think she might do well in this game.
On the Orange Tribe, it's like, let's throw Charity under the bus. Charity's first to go. And on the Green Tribe, we got a few people who are kind of a mess at the moment, namely Say and Kevin, and maybe even Mary. But it's like, who on the Purple Tribe's at the bottom at the moment? Star, I guess. It's kind of weak, though. The Star thing's kind of weak.
I think that there's like a few different dynamics. Like I think everyone has someone who they think is like on the bottom, but it's kind of different for everyone. So it is kind of hard to tell like, wait, who's actually on the bottom right now? I'm thinking.
Well, my number 2 is also Purple Tribe, but it's not Eva, though I do think Eva is a solid choice. My number 2 is Thomas.
Sure.
Thomas.
Also a solid choice. Yep.
So much positive content. And California Girls. Girls, we're on Daisy Duke's bikinis on top or whatever that Katy Perry flashed in the pan, by the way. I know, personal opinion. She was like really like a hot artist for like 4 years and then just disappeared. I know she's still around. I'm aware, Katy Perry fans, but just like kind of like around for a few years and then. Anyways, Thomas, my number 2, got a lot of positive content. Seemed to connect well. Seems to have an alliance with, my opinion, the strong members of the Purple Tribe, which are, but also Bianca. Like the only person Thomas is not connected to in a positive way that we've seen, Star, but not negative, just not. It's like Star is the outlier, but Thomas is in with everybody in a good way. And it makes me feel good about Thomas going forward. There was nothing indicative of like Thomas and Bianca are on the outs. It wasn't like Stephanie and Mary, where like Thomas and Bianca are on the outs. No, Thomas is in with the guys and he's in with Bianca. I think Thomas is okay. We'll see what that means long term, but I think Thomas is in a good spot right now. All right, who is your number 1? It's also my number 1.
Yes, my number 1 is Joe. So, Joe, I mean, he's impossible to ignore. From the very beginning. Yeah, like, I mean, just the beginning of the episode, he's the conclusion to the clips of people, finding out they got cast. The music changes for him. We get an emotional reaction from him, kind of different from the excitement that everyone else shows.
He's on the Jam Kenzie tribe, Purple.
Yep, Purple. Yep. So I don't know. And then just throughout the episode, so much positive content. We see him connect with people. We see him talk about how he wants to take the whole tribe to the end, and everyone seems to like him. And I don't know. Yeah, it's just nothing but positive content for Joe. And
if that thing with bringing everybody to the end, it just hit my brain. Is it possible he says that and it's like, what a noble thing? And then Joe learns later in the season, like, it's impossible. I literally cannot take everybody to the end, even though I really wanted to. And it's like another, like, dang, Joe, so positive. Like something what a noble thing. And because Joe's being sincere, but like later on, he's like, I just realized I can't take everybody to the end. People are turning. people are like, you know what I mean? Like people are backstabbing and like,
yeah.
I wanted to bring
Do you
everything
like
in.
think this is his villain?
No, not villain. I'm saying Joe is the hero coming out of the ashes of a tribe of people who did not adhere to the vision of sticking together.
Yes.
And they're setting up here by he has this noble vision, take everyone to the end, and they're going to end up ruining it. Not Joe. They're going to end up ruining it. And Joe will come out looking heroic. And they'll be like, you know what, Joe? Shoot, how I listen to you? You're right. All three. We could have had 3 purples in the final 3 while they're sitting on the jury. So anyways, Joe has the last confessional, as you said, of the opening part. It was a positive thing, but like we've had like Carolyn get the opening confessional, though it did make her look silly in 44.
Sure.
Notice how it's like these even numbered seasons for these. Last season for 46 it was Tevin had like that super cool confessional. He has like such a good narration voice. It was very positive for Tevin. But again, not a winner. Carolyn also not a winner. So that's not indicative, though there's nothing like that here, but he did get a confessional and his is definitely the one to like linger on. Do you have to let it linger? Do you have to? Do you have to? Do you have to let it linger? The biggest, my conspiracy theory, besides the fact that it said Survivor 48 day 1 on the Purple Tribe, I'm like, is that connected? I don't know, but I am a little confused by the choice. In the preview that they did. Now, the previews they do for the even-numbered season saying, here's what's coming in the next season Survivor. Those previews for the even-numbered seasons are after the seasons are done filming. They already know the result. The ones they do for the odd-numbered seasons, 45, 47, they do not know the result when they make those. So it's hard to look into those and take them seriously. At that point, they know, for the most part, who's going far, but they don't know who's won the season. They didn't know Rachel won when they made Here's What's Coming at 47. It was still filming when that happened. However, when they made the 44, when they made the 46, when they made 48, heck, even when they made the 42, they already knew who won those seasons. Marianne had the next to last confessional of 42. Not part of the trend here. Kenzie got the last confessional of 44 with her face and everything of the preview. For 46. Jam Jam got the last confessional for 44. Like him and Kenzie were 1 for 1, like almost same. And then Joe got the 1 for 1 copying Jam Jam Kenzie. And it's like so weird that I have to think outside the actual episode's edit but it's like, when the previews are made by the show. That's the thing. The previews are in the finale. It's not the TV. It's not CBS making TV ads. These previews are in the finale. They're in the reunion, whatever you call it, the after show. They're made by the show. So in essence, the same editing team, theoretically, I imagine, is making these previews for the seasons. Therefore, they know, and therefore this to me almost feels like a match chat kind of thing, where it's like, they don't think anybody's going to notice. But like if Joe wins, that is three times in a row of these times when they knew who the winner was. I can't overlook it. On top of
that's really interesting.
Episode, it's not just that. If it was just that and then Joe had a terrible episode, I'd be like, okay. But there was like, how can anyone watch this episode and deny that Joe is a front runner? Yeah. Does that mean that Joe ends up going in the Jesse spot number 4? Very possible. Very possible he's our Jesse of the season, gets cut, and it's like, man, Joe should have won that season. You know, we'll see. I mean, it's so early for me to be making, but these are like, this is my evidence. I have so much evidence for Joe. Thomas and David, my top 2 and 3 are like based solely off this episode. I have nothing else. I think David had his chocolate milk confessional in the preview, so he was prominent there. I just go back and look and see.
Oh, is he the one? Yeah.
Yeah, we said, it might be steroids, but then other people are like, no, it legitimately looks like he just works out. I'm like, all right, okay.
I think that in that preview, it looked really weird.
More jacked.
I will say watching him in the actual episode, he looks more, I don't know, normal? I don't know.
He looks super buff, but he doesn't look like steroid super buff as far as I'm aware.
Yeah.
But yes, in the preview.
He looks like he's a stuntman.
Right, in the preview, it definitely looked like he was more jacked than what we saw on the show. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, well, that's our top 3. Tune in tomorrow for Mary and I's more in-depth winner analysis where we rank more people. All right, so you ready for questions from people on YouTube?
Yes. Actually, before you do that, I have one more thing that I should have talked about when I was talking about
we're still in winner analysis. We're still in winner analysis. Say it.
We're still in winner analysis. Yes. And this is a conspiracy theory that I have based on myself. And I want to talk about this. So this season, in our headshots that are played at the beginning of the podcast episodes, I picked a green buff to wear in these. And I would just like to point out that for the last 3 seasons that we've done this,
because we started these
every
photos
time
in 45.
I've picked, yes, and ever since 45, I've picked the color buff of the person who ended up winning that season. So in season 45, I had a red buff and D won. Season 46, I had a purple buff and Kenzie won. And then season 47, I had a yellow buff and Rachel
You are rigging
won.
it.
So therefore,
You're rigging it, Rebekah.
Therefore, this conspiracy theory is just based on my own brain and the color that I
The
choose.
Green Tribe's in the worst spot by far, Rebekah.
I know. It's definitely going to break this season, which is why I wanted to bring it up now, because it's not going to be accurate after this. But I don't know. I just noticed that the other day and I thought it was really funny.
And we buy our own buffs.
Anyway.
It's not like Survivor sends them to us. So this is truly like our own personal decision that just happenstance. Rebekah picked it 3 times in a row. Yeah.
Yeah. I just pick it based on vibe and what colors I already have. So I already had yellow and purple. So this season it was green.
Okay. So let's start with our questions. First one's from Robert the Pro. By the way, these questions are asked on, I ask you all for questions on YouTube as soon as the episode's done. So if you want to know where to put them, that's where you put them. Robert the Pro asks, why do people not like fire making so much? Final Four fire making, he means.
Yeah, I think it's just because we've seen it so much, and it's like, I don't know. Jeff even kind of mentioned it in one of the announcement videos where he was talking about like, oh, you could either make the game of Survivor a strategy game
a social
game, and they have to like vote each other out, or you could let the players have their game in their own hands. And it's like, Jeff, that's the whole point of Survivor. It's a social game.
Social strategy is the game in their own hands, Jeff. Yeah, because he was like trying to sell.
Yeah.
It was during the pitch of like, we get to vote on everything. Jeff's like, well, like Samatini. It was so intense last season. I'm like, Jeff, I haven't thought about the Samatini fire making a minute after it got done. Like, I haven't thought about it since then until you mentioned it right now. Like, it was like it doesn't matter. Like I think about other fire making ones, like the Chris Devins, Chris Devins and Rick Devins. I keep getting them mixed up, man. Like they're married.
Yes.
Rick Devins and Chris, whatever his name was. That one, I think about that one. I think about how Rodney broke the flint like 2 times in season 30. I think about how the Cook Islands one took an hour and a half.
Yeah.
I think about how in Palau they had a great fire making on the fly and you could clearly tell as a tiebreaker. I think of those times, so I do not think about Samatini in 47. Like, it was not that dramatic. Like, how often has the winner actually been decided by the fire making? In my opinion, in the recent seasons, 35, 36, and 38, the only times the winner had fire help them. Other than that, fire making's been, and that we're talking about since 38. Since 38. I don't think it's been a factor since 38. I think it might help Gabler, but I think Gabler was winning as long as Jesse wasn't there, and Jesse was getting voted off anyways in 43. You know what I mean? Like, Jesse was not surviving that Final Four vote. He didn't have immunity. He was gone.
Right. Yeah.
He wasn't winning, and therefore Gabler, I think, still won. Like, it wasn't like fire making. Though then again, if you look at 46, if Jeff really wants to reference fire making as something important, according to Maria, the glint in Kenzie's eye as she was making fire making supposedly made her flip from Charlie to Kenzie. There's something in the way that Kenzie selfishly wanted to spend the $1 million and the glint in her eye. And I am not even joking for those things I'm joking. This is what Maria said.
I know, yeah.
Dead serious.
No, I know you're 100% serious, which is what makes this so funny.
Unironically, Maria said the glint in Kenzie's eye as she was making fire during 46, and also how she said she wanted to selfishly spend the $1 million and not share it with anybody, made Maria want to vote for her over Charlie. So if Jeff really wanted to reference a fire making matters, that's one.
Yeah.
Though I'm not sure if that's going to drop the positive feelings that Jeff's wanting us to have about fire making. So all that tells me is that fire making got in the way of Charlie getting the win that he actually earned.
Right.
But I think Maria's just telling lies. I think she's voting Kenzie no matter what. But personal opinion, I think that was just a load of malarkey. I don't think there's nothing that
she just needed to justify it. It was like somehow. It's like when
you watch Boston Rob. How can I not bring Boston Rob? Right? Everyone says Boston Rob. You're his biggest fan. I'm really not. But Boston Rob, because he's on the Traders, he just makes up stuff. He just finds justification for his moves. No matter how loose the justification is, he just finds it all the time. It's like, is that really justification? Boston Rob's like, yes, it means the world to me. It's like, all right, I guess. So anyways, it's kind of like Maria voting for Kenzie over Charlie. Like, whatever. Just say you're salty and get over it. She still won't.
Yeah.
Still won't. All right, next question's from
That's crazy.
Megan Harper. How long do you think until the California girls find out there are other California girls on the season?
Yeah, this alliance is going to be, what did you say, 8 people
7.
large?
I don't know. Was Stephanie
that's
one of them?
crazy.
She feels like
7?
she's from California. Am I wrong?
Yeah, she does have that
Can
vibe.
you double check that? Is she from California?
Oh, I can double check that. Yeah, give me a minute.
Go for it. Check that. Next question is from AJEG. Sai got 21 confessionals. Holy crap. Sai got 21 confessionals.
Whoa.
Most in episode by any player. Do you think that means she's gone next or making it far? Wow, I am shocked. 21. Holy crap. I don't think that means she goes far, but I do think that I mean, Asia got like, I forgot how many Asia got in episode 1 of last season. I think Asia got like 12 or 13, and then she was gone episode 3. So it's not necessarily indicative of going far, but holy crap, 21 confessionals. All right, did you find out where Stephanie's from?
She is from Brooklyn, New York.
Okay, well, that's the other overrepresented area on Survivors, the whole New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Pennsylvania area. All right, next question is from Jonathan. Was it just me or did Jeff's voice sound very muffled at some points during the challenges? I could barely hear him at certain points. Yeah, I kind of mentioned that earlier. I feel like Jeff might have maybe got sick before they filmed 48 and he was doing his absolute best. That's all. That's why I noticed.
That would make sense. Yeah. Also, there's 7 people from California on this cast.
Okay.
Just counted.
I think one of them was like born and raised in California and then moved. I forgot where I got the 8th one from.
Oh,
it was something like that. It was like 7. I don't know. 7 for sure, California. 8, sense. I think, was like technically from. Anyways.
Point is, this is going to be the largest alliance.
Right.
Once we get to the merge.
The California people all can make the merge. There you go. There's your final 7. The show's like, I wanted to keep us together until I found there are other people from California like me. I assume Joe's from California, by the way. This is the California Girl Alliance. All right. Yes, Todrick asks, I screamed Survivor villain early on in the game. How long do we think she'll last? What's our prediction on Sai? I'm sorry. I keep saying Sai. I apologize. It's Say. I will learn it. I will get it. Say. I say Sai because of the way I read it as a dirty American when I read it on the, it looks like the word Sai. It's Say. All right. How far do we think Say will make it in the game?
I mean, if the Green Tribe wasn't such a mess, I think because the Green Tribe is going to be likely going to tribal a lot, I don't see her going super far, to be honest. Like, I see her as maybe like a 4th or 5th boot, maybe something like that. Like, I don't think she's going next necessarily, but I don't know if she makes it to the merge.
Yeah,
maybe.
I could see this being burned out real fast, but Survivor's going to put as much of a positive spin on the aggressive gameplay as possible. Yeah. I mean, they did it this episode, basically. All right, last question from Mick Condog. First, I want to say, where is the intro song? Are you kidding me? Well, to answer your question, they do it in episode 2. So, for anyone else wondering, that's where it's at.
Episode 2. Yep.
Also, did you notice Jeff falling at the challenge? He did?
Did he?
What?
Wait, which challenge?
I'm assuming immunity. Unless he fell during the maroon challenge.
I did not notice that.
I know. Maybe that's why he lost his voice.
One of those
or
two.
His voice hurt or whatever.
He tripped and then just
his voice is muffled during the challenge because he's underwater. David!
So
see you,
funny.
I can't get their act together. Yeah, I don't know how Jeff's in the ocean, but I don't know. I didn't notice him falling. That's pretty funny. I'll have to go back and look at that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That is, believe it or not, all we have for this podcast. Wow. Again, tomorrow, podcast with Mary for winner analysis. And then the day after, Traders will be a day late this week because Survivor takes priority on this channel. But I'll be doing Traders with Madison. That'll be up on Patreon as soon as it's done. And I think on YouTube. So YouTube wise, this goes up on Thursday. Winner analysis Friday, Traders Saturday. But if you want to listen early for all free patrons as well, it's on Patreon early. Link in the description if you want to join that. All right. Well, it's not super late here, but we have been recording for, I think I have written it down, 19 hours, my recorder says.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's crazy. That might mess up your upload schedule, actually. It
might, though. If it's any shorter than 19 hours, we've cut stuff out of this podcast.
Sure.
For sure.
Yes.
And I apologize. Maybe one day I'll release the director's cut of these. No, on a side note, for real, like straight up, these podcasts do end up being like 10 to 15 minutes shorter than our recording time. And it's always me like going through and like, I I cut that, you know, like,
Yeah.
I do actually go through and edit most of the time and like clean stuff up, but there's no way I'm listening to like the entire like 2 hours. Like I just like go to certain sections. I'm like, I remember us. I'm like, did I say something stupid here?
Yeah. I mean, you're here while we record it, so you know the content. Yeah.
Yeah. But you know
which sections to check.
It's why we don't do it live, because I undoubtedly am like, I said something stupid here, or we sometimes it'll be like, oh, I dropped my phone on the floor and we had to like pause for 30 seconds while I pick it up. We just did that one the other day. You'll never know.
We did. Yeah.
Randomly, when Mary and I record, it's always the flipping cats in our house will run around. Like at the moment we start recording, they want to run around. Make noise, and it's like, oh my gosh, you had all day to do this.
That's just how that goes. They sense that you're trying to record audio. They're like,
my dog's like,
time to be chaotic.
My dog's like, I haven't ate on my bowl. Now it's time to go eat out of my metal bowl and knock my collar against it while I'm at it. It's like, oh my gosh, could you not? It's always right when we start recording. No. So, all right, well, that's it for this week. We'll see you all for week 2 next time. Yeah. All right. Bye.